G'day, welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. How you doing, mate?
I am always alive, but yeah, a bit of a sore throat. I think it's the impact of going from the beautiful tropics to freezing Sydney.
You weren't busy using your mouth inappropriately all that time?
No.
You said that was
I
so
was not
straight
doing
face.
what you're being rude and alluding to.
Okay, sorry. Well, I was just hoping you had a good time, that's all. Just hoping you had a good time. All right.
And Winnie will kill you later.
Oh, yeah, she will. I'm so sure. I'm waiting for it. Like, she'll just rock up and just start slapping me. It'll be great. Right. Have you been enjoying the box missions? The cargo hauling. What do they call it? Resource rescue?
Resource resupply or whatever I want to call it. No.
Resource revenge?
In PTU.
Yeah.
Yeah, resource repeat. In PTU, loved it. In live, no. I think I've tried. I think I've done about 15 to 20 missions, of which maybe 5 have worked because the lists don't work.
Yeah, it's mainly a lift problem. Yeah,
the list, you can't transfer the cargo. You can't do the combat missions because there's none available ever. You can't. And the mining missions. Why would you ever try to do a mining mission? Because it's just got to mine it, got to refine it,
and you got to transport it. Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell?
You can't do the combat ones because they essentially are always taken, and people, as soon as they end them, grab them again. So they're just out of the loop. And then the follow-on effect is obviously because the elevators are not working, people just log out and they leave their ships where they are. And so basically it gets compounded. The smaller the base is, the worse the problem. So you come up to one that's got like just a small pad and they'll be like, I'm not kidding when I say 20 ships. It's pretty insane. And then
you can't get to landing pad because people are on the pad as well. So
yeah. But all of this is very important information. We can sit here and complain, but we will also stand back and go, shit, I'd rather this shit go like this now so they can see the problems and fix it. That's a positive takeaway, but bloody oath, it's annoying. And it's been an absolute grind. Like I've got 2 of them to tier 5. I've got about 3 left to do on Art Corp, and that'll be at tier 5. And then Microtech, I've only got about halfway. But so I've been playing it quite a lot. But I'm telling you now, there's other ones that you haven't run into yet. Like I've lost multiple full ships of cargo where if you go slightly into the hangar at the wrong angle, it'll fine. I found out it's a fine, but when it first comes up on the ASOP, it says reclaim, and I didn't wait for it to, because you got to wait a minute after you first look at the ASOP. So the first time I looked in it and I just went reclaim and I lost all the cargo. The second time I got really frustrated, was throwing shit around my room. I just do. It's normal human reaction. And then came back and did it again. And then it said pay $5,000 fine. So I had to pay a fine for the game stuffing up. And then I had to do another whole load of cargo for the game stuffing up. It feels like you're being punished whenever the game stuffs up. So it just compounds the issue and makes it fucking worse.
One of the issues I've got is that they've made it a timed event.
Yes, that's another annoying one too.
That is the absolute...
Yeah. Yeah. Because I told you last...
They've got all these bugs. They've got all these bugs so you can't complete the damn thing.
Yeah.
And they've made it a timed event.
Yeah.
If you're testing something, for crying out loud, don't make it a timed event.
It's like I told you, but you can see what I was talking about with the progression though, yeah? If they'd left it in... Yeah.
If I left it as a normal, hey, we've got this major thing problem happening. We want the resources. Do it at your own time. 90% of those problems would disappear. Okay, the lift problem probably wouldn't disappear.
No, but
the cargo lift problem but you'd get rid of a congestion at the basis. You'd get rid of.
It'd help them find the issue and fix it in a way, if you think about it. Yeah. So yeah.
But
I
assume they're getting lots of data from this, but I'm not enjoying it because it is just such an absolute grind. It takes you, 10 minutes to get to a place, and then you can't use the thing. So you've got to cancel your mission and start again. And, you get the thing where the lift is overloaded, and it doesn't matter how many boxes you try and put on the lift, it's still overloaded. And you can't fix that. Or it just doesn't work. Or it's just constantly loading. Or once you've loaded your cargo, then you get an issue where you crash and lose your cargo and got to start again. Or issues where, you, like you said, it's just, it is frustrating. It is. I haven't gone around the room and tossed things, but I have just, last night, I got to the point, I just went, yeah, I've done. I turned it off. After an hour and a half of trying and doing 2 or 3 attempts, I just gave up because it was just a waste of time.
Yeah. I have over time learned workarounds, but they're still not frustrating. So things like I fly out of the area. So if I've been to every single every single landing thing, and there is the elevator's not working, you've got 2 options. You can either dump that mission, grab another one, which it will instantly populate. So as soon as you drop it, it'll populate again and you can grab it, which you can also use where if you actually find an elevator that's working. So say for example, I found that there was no one going to Cillin, right? So I kept going to what I would do is I'd dump it, pick it back up. If it wasn't Cillin, I'd dump it, pick it back up. And then eventually I'd get Cillin, so I could go back to the elevator I knew that was working. So that's one good trick. The only downside is you've got to listen to the person talk as many times as you drop the mission. So that gets a bit frustrating, especially if you dumped it like 8 times. The other option, though, if that's not working, and that would eventually happen where someone would come and stuff the elevator, is you because I'm generally in the raft, I would take the raft outside the armistice zone, get it at log out in the bed, and then jump to another region, and then repeat everything else I just said. And generally, one of those 2 things would speed it up. Not that it's not frustrating, but to grind it out. That's what I was doing. But
that solution is for people who are not time poor.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. If you're time poor, you're screwed.
Yeah.
If you've only got a 3-hour block, you're screwed.
I'm going to tell you right now, the weekend was way worse. So instantly as it came to Australian Tuesday, so American Monday, everyone went back to work. All the problems, 90% of the problems nicked off. So I guarantee you starting today, it'll be worse again because we've hit Australian Saturday right now. It's currently a bit after 8 a.m. Australian Saturday. It's going to start to ramp up as more and more, even American Friday, there'll be more people playing right now. Yep. So now is going to be a way worse time. So yeah,
I've got to admit, it was Tuesday night where I had the most success with my missions. I think I've had no success since Tuesday night.
Yeah. But, again, I think the takeaway is, I'd rather it hit the fan like this now before. I know they talk about how the game's all in a live release, whatever, but it's shit like this that's got to get sorted before 1.0, right?
Yeah. Look.
And I don't know if they've deliberately done this to just get a shit ton of data or whatever. But I think making the missions a part of it, I think they are learning how to make missions because, again, if you look at the video that they released for this event, they talked about all the shit they stuffed up and got wrong in the first one. I can't wait to see the video about this one talking about how they stuffed this one up because they're going to know. They know. Don't worry. They're like us. You know they're like us. They're sitting there going, oh, shit. Oh, we fucked up. And there's a Pissball Pete's already been talking about a hashtag blame Elliot. So just... Stick it there going. Just keep blaming Elliot and he'll fix it. Yeah, so
blame Elliot.
Yeah.
Start the bot.
I've already done that. It's already up.
Okay.
Yep.
Bot's up. The Starstream is not kicking.
Stimpack Steve question the bot is open. Yeah. Starstream is not open today because Algared was having issues. So not Algared, sorry. Piggles was having issues with it. He's looking at it again and he said just
so
use the old
the
one.
Bot on the is currently working.
Yep.
So
I think it's just a bit of a mean to blame Elliot. It's not all Elliot's fault. There's multiple problems. No. He doesn't make the lifts, for example, so how can it be his fault? So...
Yeah, that's right. And isn't that one of the... I think that's one of the things I heard CIG say when they were talking problems I had. The people who actually originally designed the lifts aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
And so you've got code.
Yeah.
But they have to go back line by line and fix. And you might fix it in one area and then find it breaks in another area because something's slightly different.
Yeah, so they're probably going to have to rewrite the entire lift system or something like that.
But it is frustrating as hell. And, my biggest problem is Chris wants the game to be a game which both people who are time rich can play and feel satisfied with, and people who are time poor can play and feel satisfied with. These missions at the moment do not, in the current configuration, are not beneficial for time poor people.
I've thought about this quite a lot, right? And if you think about it, right, so look at the two extremes. I've almost got all 4 done. You'll probably get 1 done in the time that I've done the 4, right? But the thing is, if that is the amount that you need for full rep to be at repetition level, I think that is about right? Because like, if I can get all of them done in this time, I don't think realistically you need 4, right? You probably realistically only do need 1, right? So you need it to be able to kind of take up a lot of time if you want to get all of them, which it's doing for me. It is taking up a shitload of my time. But realistically, you're only ever going to need the rep of 1 planet in that system. And I think that is attainable. I think it's actually, like, in the final game, it's not that bad, actually, when I worked it out. And I did actually post on Twitter and X about that, and actually said, it's pretty close.
If it's the type of thing you do to build rep with a planet, so and it's doing missions for a planet will build you that rep that gets you those types of rewards, then no problem. If it's a time sensitive mission loop, then for time poor people it sucks.
And it is going to be a balancing act. It is going to be a balancing act.
But they certainly do want that balancing act. You do want it to be one that's going to give the people who are time rich, like you, who have plenty of time to burn and do all the missions, to feel engaged and do stuff and have stuff that's different. And that's one of the things I liked about the mining, the retrieval missions and the delivery missions. It'd be nice to see each of those have slightly different rewards as well, to actually give the people who want mining to, get better mining equipment because you've done all this extra yardage.
Well, I actually think eventually, like right now, how you're opening, like you get to a certain level and it opens like 3 skins.
Yep.
I would actually, the way you can make it more repetitious is literally it only unlocks a skin for your ship. And the other way, that could be one way you do it, right? So it encourages you to do it more. That would be needlessly grindly, though, in a way. But the other advantage is you could also make it so that there are multiple skins for each ship. And what I mean by that is, like, it kind of upgrades the skin. It gets cooler and cooler per ship. But that's up to, I don't know how they could do it. But that, can you imagine if you had to do all of Hurston for every ship? Like, that is a lot, but you could make it that way if you wanted to.
You could do that, but if I was wanting to make the mining, for example, a better experience, I'd have you do the mining missions and supply Hurston. They supply you with either a better component, a better power plant for your small ship, or a better mining head, or a better mining attachment to enable that to go. So you actually tailor the rewards along the mission. You're doing the combat missions for Hurston. You earn attritions, whether tier 1 or tier 2, but you earn things that are going to help the type of missions you're doing and enhance those. You could do that, and if you had different missions for each of those categories, it makes you want to do. I really want that mining head because I do a bit of mining. I'm going to do those missions rather than just I'll do the box mission because it gets me all the rewards. So going forward, they might look at that, but that's, I suppose, me being dreaming would be probably a more apt description there. But yeah, at the moment, I can see where they're going. I can see the benefit of these, but at the moment, no, it's not fun. It feels like a dog's breakfast.
There are things I've learned that are fun, right? And I don't think they're the height of fun, but I have a new appreciation for the ATLS. Or the ATLS. It is amazing at unloading and loading cargo. Once you know how to use it and you get it in a certain area. So there's lots of little tips that I can teach you. I do kind of want to do a very small, like, it'd only be a 5-minute video, and I'd probably only do it alone because it doesn't require that back and forth. But there are some real good tips I've learned out at, like, if you kind of sit at a parallel angle, so, you know, on left-hand side, you have the cargo, on the right-hand side, you have where you're loading it to, or vice versa. You hold the Z key, you can kind of look. And so what you do is you kind of look where the box is, you pick it up, you go across, and you can actually scroll the mouse wheel for placement.
Yep.
And you place it, and then as soon as you click the button, you can instantly look back to the other side, and then as soon as the box is placed, it'll then highlight the next box. You press again, and so you get this weird thing where you just, like, it's almost like you're throwing a yo-yo, like 2 yo-yos back and forwards across the room, and you just start unloading like a crazy madman, and it's way faster than any other way of doing it. It's and I didn't even know you could do that. So it's picked up, like, and I go to locations and people try to help you with their little max lifts. They're like, oh, I'm helping daddy, look at me. And it's actually annoying because they slow you down because they're putting boxes in your way. And I know they're trying to help, but it actually makes it worse. But yeah, it's just one of the things. Like, if you get 2 atlases though, oh my God, that's another thing. I've seen 3 people loading a whole sea with atlases, and it is a thing to behold. Like, it is so quick. They brought the whole sea down, and they're going, and literally the elevator, there's another guy on the elevator just constantly going up and down with the elevator, and then they switch. Like, they're doing it so fast that the elevator's pretty much up for like 10 seconds and then down again. Like, it's so, yeah, I can see where cargo in a group with a bigger team is going to start to become actually quite fun, because it's all about the teamwork. I've seen it. I haven't experienced it because I haven't really done it in groups, because again, that's the other thing that these missions don't do. They don't encourage team play because they instantly divide what you're doing, so therefore it slows it down again. If they'd made the penalty not 50-50, if they'd made it like I don't know, you know, maybe it's only 25% of it is lost or something like that, right? Or it's shared or something, you know, so it encourages you to play together, but still does penalize you, but not 50-50, then it would have been better, in my opinion. And again, like, the fact that you can only get size 4 cargo containers, the other way they could have done this, right, is as you go up in rep levels, you get access to bigger and bigger cargo containers. Right? And here's the other weird thing. You do the math on the cargo required right now. Let's take something like one of the low end ones, like I think it's like 333, right? Now I've got an Aurora. 4 cargo SCU boxes. You do the math, right? Like, how many loads is that in a? Yeah, you see what I mean, right? Well, yeah, 3
SU, not 4. 3.
Yeah, but again, like, small cargo ship, you get the math, right? Is my point, right? There's no way you're going to get 2,826 SCU done.
It's one of the things I said, I think last week when we were talking about it, when I was doing on PTU, I'd start with the Aurora. But very quickly, I ditched the Aurora because it just couldn't compete. You went Aurora. When I was doing on PTU, I went Aurora Taurus. Because the Taurus could take all the cargo that was needed. But every other ship was like, oh, I need to do two trips on an Aurora just to complete the first mission. Yeah. Or 3 trips on a normal Aurora to do the first mission. 2 trips on a Mustang to do the first mission. 2 trips on an Aurora CL to do the first mission. Yeah. And after that, forget it. Just give up.
The other thing I've noticed as well is during the start of the week, everyone was trying to help each other, right? But now, towards the end of the week, I've been called the C word quite a lot. And I've had
probably because you are, but
I've the number of people pushing in. Oh my God, there's no etiquette at all. Like, we had 4 people. So I'll tell you a little story, right? This is probably the worst interaction I've had, right? So there was 3 of us there at the pads. There was a guy on the raft. I was in the Atlas helping him load. There was another guy helping load. We're all walking fine, 3 of us, right? Anyway, his raft gets full. The other guy was next in line. He went to go grab his raft, and so one raft takes off, another raft lands. I just start loading because I assumed it was his raft. Turns out that was a random guy that pushed in. We got him to get out of his raft and then got him to remove the boxes. Then, instead of just moving his ship out of the way and being next in line, he refused to move his ship. Then he started pulling all the cargo off the cargo lift and this is after he figured out he had to get it off the lift so he could pull his own stuff up. He just started pulling it out and throwing it. And so the other guy that was parked there waiting for the other guy to get out of the way, just above, I said, dude, you're going to have to ram his ship out of the way. He's just pulling all your shit out. And so he just knocks his ship out of the way, but he didn't knock it out of the way properly. So the guy went and got back in it after the guy parked. And so he knocked his ship out of the way and then parked back there. Like, he refused to get out of the way. He was just pushing in line. And so I got really annoyed because now the other guy's ship that we were meant to be loading was upside down and he couldn't get back in it. So I went and got in my raft, knocked this guy's ship out of the way, rolled it over so he couldn't get back in it, put it in place, and then I started putting all the guy's cargo on my ship to help him out. And then we took his cargo back and he got his mission done, and I missed my slot in queue. I came back and there was then 4 people in queue again. So I gave up my slot to help that guy out. But how annoying. This guy just... And this guy's a guy with concierge armor. Never found out his name. But I was just like, wow, dude. I'm like, dude, if I press the record button, I can get you banned so quickly. But I just knew he was frustrated. I could tell he was pissed. But he was taking out on everyone else.
There is no... I often say there's no consequence at the moment because the game is just alpha, right?
Yeah.
But just because someone's got concierge armor, whoopie-doo.
But isn't that the definition of kind of griefing, like not taking your turn and then throwing other people's cargo away and stuff like that?
No, that's...
Yeah.
I would just say that is just bad etiquette.
Yeah. I've had other people where I've had my ship landed, ready to load, and it's my turn to pull out the cargo. They just run up and pull it up and then expect me to just sit there while they awkwardly load their cargo out to like half a pad away, and they're going to take like 15 minutes, but it also wasn't their turn. You know what I mean? So, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? And I've had other things where my mic was working and then, like 5 minutes later, it's not working. And so I'm trying to talk to them and they can't hear me, but I can hear them. And and so it creates problems because they get frustrated you're not talking to them. So everyone's elevated, all the frustration goes up, everyone's pissed. It's
I've had one encounter where there's been another person on the pad and or down there, and they helped me load.
Yep.
And one of the things I found, we were only using the maxi lift, we weren't using an Atlas because I don't own an Atlas at the moment because I've melted it.
Mm-hmm.
And but one of the things I found is
go to Lawville.
If you've got your maxi list and you toss it around, go to Lawville Algared. You
can pick them up for 75k and get one.
Interrupting. Please let me finish a sentence. Execute. I know you're saying go to Lawville and pick one up. I know I can do that, but please. I know the Atlas is going to be quicker because another time there was someone who'd left an Atlas on the platform and boy, it was so much quicker to load. As you've said, it was just the Atlas tractor beams are significantly stronger, longer range. All of the advantages you said are there. It's just bang, 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 bang. But yeah, it was really good being just having that help with someone who just came along and just was helping load, and it helped them, it helped me. But yeah, well, they helped me, and then I tried to help them. But yeah. Anyway, go to Lawville, get an Atlas if you don't have one.
Right. We have a total of one question.
We do.
It'll be a very quick stream.
Socially confused. Question: are cargo elevators part of the transit refactor?
Yes.
And hopefully they will get them fixed. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if this mission is really giving them that bulk data, that crunch data that tells them what's working and what's not and why it's breaking. And that's a positive thing for this dog's breakfast of trying to do these missions. When they're working, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, they are, but they're not working.
Yeah.
Not much of a sneak peek. Here we go. Have a look at this. Looks like another concierge armor.
It does look like a concierge armor. Oh, Winner would love that. All those flowers.
We've lost him, boys. He's gone. He's whipped. He's circling the drain. It was nice. While we knew him. Born out for old Algared.
Salute the poor guy. He's well and truly.
He's gone. We lost him.
Indeed.
Need the what's that
thing through the
what's that song the Aztecs play, the last post or whatever it's called? Do we need that? Just hold the sleeve. Yep. He's gone.
Unfortunately,
nice while we knew him.
For the better. I would personally say for the better, but but yeah. So
also
on other news, go on.
Talk a little bit about the little bar citizen you had too, and the org you called into.
That was exactly what I was just going to raise. I was going to say, in other news,
like minds think alike. So yeah, go ahead.
So we had the bar citizen, very small. Ended up being, instead of 3 to 6, ended up like being 3 to 8. So a small group at the venue. We had Sandy provided 2 Cutlass starter packs with LTI as prizes, so it was awesome. So prize winners ended up being a guy who literally had been playing for a week and had a cutter. So having the Cutlass is really going to help them just do these missions, because the cutter's got the same problem Aurora has, you know. Sorry about that. So, you know, so he's got a Cutlass Black now. And the other was a person who had signed up but had yet to buy a pack. So that was the two prize winners. But after we had kind of the physical meetup, and you joined and had a chat to a couple of the guys for a bit, then they ended up getting their org online. And so there was about 8 or 9 guys there. So it was then a 2-hour live stream of questions and thoughts and things. But it was a good night. But yeah. But the next one will certainly be bigger. I know they're doing a watch party for later in the year. And then next time I go to Indonesia, we'll try and organise a more professional or more planned bar citizen. But it was good. Actually, it was a coffee citizen because we weren't at a bar.
So Aiden says, out of curiosity, Inforunners, if I say Hurston wins, what do you think the Stanton-Pyro Gateway Station could be called? And if we were the other corporation that won, what could they name it? I thought they were naming the wormhole, not the station. But Paul and I have actually suggested they call it the Old Man.
Yeah, you're saying that.
And that tips to the original Hurston guy. It tips to Mark Hamill's character in Squadron 42,
old man.
And this fart over here. So all 3 of them get a tip of the hat with that one. So yeah.
So yeah, that's what Paul and X have thought. But I don't dispute that. You know, it goes to old man Archibald.
Don't dispute it. It's you. Why would you dispute it? No. Yeah, whatever. Right.
Yeah. But it does pay homage to Archibald. It does pay homage to, although I think Archibald's referred to as the Colonel, from memory.
Maybe that's your new nickname now. Algared Bald. I don't know. I need to think of other ways.
Yeah.
Algared Bald. Actually, that's a good idea for like an 8-ball, or a bowling ball.
Yeah, cute ball.
With your face on it. Yeah. Right. Anyway,
see what I put up with all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, you need a bigger cup, by the way. Apparently.
No, someone in my house. I had a red one. You know, I had a red one and a blue one. Someone, my cup just disappeared. Someone broke it and they've just like thrown it away and not even told me. I'm very disappointed because I can't rebuy them. I can't find them anywhere. I'm very, very, very hurt by that they would just break it and not tell me. Anyway, so the other thing I want to talk about is we obviously did these last year. So just these shirts. So the John Crew one. For the Citizen Con, we had to make like 55 of them or 57 or something like that in the end.
Because the ship team was so big.
Yeah, they're really good quality. We didn't skimp on quality or anything like that. And we're looking at probably getting another set made for another team. Now, obviously, the ship team is one of the biggest ships in the game. I was thinking this time around of doing the mission team. Elliot's on there. And so what I just want to put the feelers out there to get some ideas of what we could do. And I've already had a few, like I've talked to Pissball Pete. He's got a few ideas. I've talked to Dafty Digit. He's probably going to design it again. Yeah, of course it's a great shirt, as Daft would say, because he made them. It's just like you, Algared, totally unbiased, so humble. But you two are a pair, I'll give you that much. So basically we want something along the lines of missions and Elliot being the leader of the team. So it's a little chance to have a riff on Elliot for he, you know, they kind of don't mind that kind of humor there as well. So you feel free, but the stuff that we thought was going to be really harsh, they actually really liked that. So there was one that we got surprised. Yeah, we got one about toilet humor, and we were like, "Whoa, that crosses the line." Yeah. And I showed it to Elliot, and he said John would love that. And so I ended up going. If actually there was a video on Twitter, I could probably go find it. Actually, while I'm talking about it, just give me a second. Where John Crew posted up, he's got a display case in his office, and it shows all this paraphernalia that people have given him over the years, and basically. It was the little photo that I'd given him was in there.
The other thing with that was not only we had the second one.
I've got it here. Hang on. So if can you see that? Oh wait, is that?
Yep.
I need to check what's going on.
See it.
Yeah, it's going on stream. Cool. All right, my camera keeps moving.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so he's been getting a heap of shit over the years. But the one that we gave him is right on the bottom, so we'll get down to the bottom and I'll pause it.
But as it's going through, we actually had one that didn't work, so we didn't frame it. But we got I think give it to Ben, or was given to you gave him both, but Ben ended up getting one.
Technically, we gave it to Ryan Chambers, and he dropped it off on John's desk.
That's true.
And this is it here. That's that little frame there.
Yep.
Now, I can't remember who actually made it, but it was some of the community that made it. So if you are seeing this video, yes, it did. I actually told the guy, I said, man, I think that's way too crass. But what it is it's two outhouses, and it's got one says John Crews on John Crew, and the other says employee. So it's him shitting on his John Crew goes up the stairs and shits on his employees. And
we thought, no, that's too crass. You can't do that.
But they loved it, and the spare one, as Agrid's alluding to, he actually gave that to Ben Curtis.
Ben Curtis has got that hanging in his office as well. So, they loved it. They thought it was, and we were talking to them after that. We were talking about that, and they were laughing. They thought it was a hoot.
Yeah. So
which surprised us. We were, we can't do it. But Oliver Polton said, no, it's good. I think we even showed it to Brian and asked him whether it would be okay, and he seemed to give the same type of positive reaction that Elliot had given. It just everyone we asked about it said in England said, go for it.
Okay. So they were cool with it. So we're going to probably open the floodgates a little bit this time and be a little bit, a little bit more that way. So we're just letting you know that. John Priest is saying, talking about how many on the mission team. From memory, there's about 7, and he also said the shirts are very comfortable. John, we got John a shirt because he helped organise all that stuff on there where he lived, and he obviously if he's doing these ones, he'd have to drive them up and drop them off for us as well. So we'll probably get John another one this time around as well.
The beauty of that super large delivery was that we did get an impromptu tour of the office.
Yeah, we kind of ran into Chris and a few other people that were in there behind the scenes, because it was just like, I think maybe 6 of us going in there. And that was the day before the ship tour and all that had even started.
3.
Was it 3 of us? God, I can't remember. I know
Sandy, you, me, and Pickles.
Yeah, because John didn't come in, did he?
No.
Because he was carrying the shirts up at the time. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so that's just a little bit of insider stuff. But yeah.
So just before shirts had arrived, we went up to see if we get some extra hands, because we were told that a massive big load, and so we got an impromptu.
Then we get there and there's only 4 bags.
Yeah,
and we had 4 developers come down, so they had to carry 1 bag each. But John and the other guy were carrying them like this. But yeah, when they got there, they only had to give them off to 1 developer each. So, because Sandy was sitting there like, "There's this huge thing," and then they get there and she just goes, "Is that it?"
I think the 3 of us were. Is that it?
Yeah.
But the impression we got was of the massive load.
Yeah. But they actually were quite heavy, but they just looked a lot smaller than the impression we'd been given. Yeah, but yeah. So
that was also the incident where Sandy was just waiting outside. Waiting outside. No one had any idea.
And there was a crowd of people standing there, and they just had no idea who she was. It was kind of interesting to us. But you could tell she was dodgily standing off to one side, like, "I'll just stand here and hopefully they leave me alone." Like, you could tell the way from her posture, she was just like, "Yeah, I'll just stand here and they'll leave me alone."
And she was right. They did.
So yeah, long story.
I'll stand here like a lost person, and no one will interfere with me.
Yeah. So long story short, mission team, thoughts about shirts on the mission team. So some of the things like the hashtag blame Elliot was one of them. That, you know, there's ones I talked to that I suggested, like, thanks for the missions, and then that's crossed out. The missions are okay, and you know, it was just thanks for missing. Like they progressively get worse as they go down, because but just little weird ideas people being throwing out. What you know, Elliot, and he's a man on a mission, and in kind of like the style of this one was kind of like John Crew, like he's the pirate or whatever. But you could also do the like an old, like Rambo or Arnie, you know, like a man on a mission to get the missions done.
I automatically thought of Mission Impossible missions.
That one works too. Yeah,
Impossible with Elliot's face, you know, instead of Tom Cruise. But they're the types of things I just thinking when you were saying the mission team. Like that was the first thing that came to my head. But John Citizen, by the way, says we are so full of.
It's so full of shit. I can say it. Like it's not hard to say. It's a 4-letter word. It's very easy to say.
Yep. I realise it's a 4-letter word, but
John knows better than anyone that he's also full of shit. So it's all good. You reap what you sow.
He also knows how heavy the bags were. So
I felt very sorry for John, because we get to CitizenCon and we do the shirts and all that the first day. The next day I call him. And he'd gone home. He was crook as a dog. He'd gone home in the middle of the night and missed the whole thing. I was like, "What? Why'd you go home?" And he's just like, "Oh, because I was sick and I just wanted to go home." And it's like,
"Oh, man." Yeah. So that, I think John just got his bag. That was basically got his goodies bag
and went home. Missed the whole thing. He had a VIP. I think he had a VIP ticket and everything. So yeah.
Yep. And was crook as a dog and went home.
Yeah.
So we're where's John? Where's John? And so that was a bit of a bummer, but
they did. In all fairness to John and the other guy carrying the bags, they carried them multiple blocks. I think it was like 4 blocks or something like that. So they carried it a fair way.
So he's saying 2 of us carried those bags all the way, and that's true. They did.
They did. We weren't denying that. We're not full of shit at that. It's just
no. We're not
in all fairness, Algared and I never picked up the bag. So they went straight from John to the developers, right? So we never know how heavy they were, but he said they were heavy. Nope. So, but it was the way Sandy went. Is that it? Like
the impression was there were lots of bags and lots of
The impression was
weight
given
and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And so 4 bags would have been, I think, probably too hard for one person. In fairness,
absolutely.
You know, especially for Sandy.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so all that time talking about shirts, we've now got like 3 more questions. These are rookie numbers. We're gonna have to get them up. So we'll do another question, but yeah, please get some more in if you've got some. We are heading into that quieter time of year though, so we'll see. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on the missions or statements or anything you can think you can do to improve them. But as usual, if the questions run out, we'll just end early. We've been 45 minutes talking to try and get some more questions, and there's just none that's really come in. So yeah.
And I'll say, the Panadol and the Panadine are doing wonders on my throat, but my voice is still feeling like it's going to give out. So I don't mind if we end early.
Yeah. All right. So Cody Fox says, question. A lot of people have speculated that CIG is using outposts to promote piracy, even though elevators were broken. Do you think that if so, that is a good idea? I haven't been pirated a single time. I haven't been shot at. None of that's happened. I think that is total malarkey.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
In the multiple times I've attempted the missions, I can't say completed them. I think I have been rammed by someone once who was flying in and just ran me up the rear. And that's it. And it was not that they weren't trying to pad ram me or anything. They were just accelerated their ship too fast and bumped into me. But that's it, once out of probably 20, 25 times. So
Daft, that is going to be the hill you die on. I think this is the 4th time this week I've heard him talk about max lift paints for the event. Because they only have yellow max lift. They don't have any other skins, and he wants other colored skins. He's right. They're definitely, like, the max lift is used a lot more than probably any other gun in the game, and it still doesn't have skins.
Yep. No, it's certainly used, I think, for tractor beams. I don't think I see anyone using the small multi-tool tractor beam anymore.
I see people using them, but the max lift was definitely used more.
It gives you, I've used it once or twice when unloading a ship or getting components out of a ship when salvaging, just because the maxi lift is just too cumbersome in those areas, in those tight areas. But as soon as I get it out, I'm switching to the maxi lift because the maxi lift is more powerful and it gives you more control. But yeah, there's a use for it. But yeah, you see the maxi lift more often than not. So
yeah. All right. Question for Stimpack Steve says, question for Alan X. If you could only pick 2 ships each, what would you choose and why? Oh god.
And by the way, hi chat from Stimpack Steve, and hi Steve. 2 ships. And only have 2. I can't answer that question. There's too many.
No, I can. If I boil it down to 2, it'd be something like a Kraken, and then something small like an everyday daily driver runabout, so like a Spirit or a Connie or something like that. And the reasons for that is you want something that can do the general stuff that the Kraken can't do, but then you use the Kraken to earn down and just get everything you want anyway.
Yeah, I can see that logic. And that's logic I agree with. I was thinking Idris, but then I'm wanting to go Idris, not Idris, but then I'm wanting to go Endeavour, or BMM.
Probably, actually, I'd probably go Orion. Actually, not Kraken. Like a really large capital earner, and then a generalist. Yeah. So and I'd probably have to go big in the Spirit. So I'd probably have to go the ship that I'm kind of looking for, I don't think's there yet.
At present, my second ship would probably be a Connie. Probably.
Connie's,
as much as I like the Connie Andromeda, I'd probably go Connie Taurus.
Yeah, I haven't.
But
I'd have to sit and stew on that for a little bit.
The smaller ships are harder one to pick, but I find both of them are hard to pick. I certainly want, similar to you, a large ship and a small ship for that earn down economy. But then it's a question of what large ship do I want?
You could also go the other way and just go like a Kraken and an Orion, and then struggle, and then use that to buy the generalist.
The Orion, the Orion's the Explorer, so yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go Pioneer. That's the one.
No. The Orion's the miner.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. The Orion. Yeah, the Orion. I that's one I did think of the miner, but because I haven't really enjoyed the gameplay for mining at present compared to salvage, I wonder whether it's going to continue. But when I was buying ships and thinking of the gameplay I wanted, the Orion was the one I loved. That was the one I had. You know, that was mining platform for it had everything. That was really what I was looking forward to. I'm not sure I'm looking forward to that now because I just don't find mining as satisfying when I'm just wanting to chill. Whereas salvage does that for me. And I'm not sure it's just because salvage becomes, even though everything's pretty much the same, it's changing. The bits you have to do are slightly different and slightly varied than what it feels like in mining. When you're mining those rocks, it's just bang, break, stuck. Whereas on salvage, you kind of got to break it, take the gear off, take the components off, take the weapons off. So there's different elements to the salvage mission than there are in the mining.
I think there's definitely a more nuanced layer to salvage, and salvage is kind of more defaultly works with the game, where mining's almost like a step outside the regular gameplay. And I think that there'll be a lot more layers to mining the more it's come back and worked on. Like, we obviously now know that they've kind of split underground mining and mining, which kind of gripes me a little bit because you now know that the Prospector would have done both, but now it's been split. And ideally, you think about it, I don't know, you tell me this, right? You know as well as I do, the on-surface stuff is probably going to be fairly stable, as in you can regularly find stuff. But finding the stuff underground is probably going to be a lot more like a jackpot. And I don't know about you, you think that through. I think people are going to prefer the underground stuff over the finding shit on the surface. And you think back to the old gold rush, everyone was digging underground, and then there was people panning in the river. You know what I mean? And the people that panning the river found stuff more constantly, but they never found anything really big. It was all the people that dug that found the really big shit. So you break it down, you see where I'm going, right? People people have now bought and invested in all these ships, and all of a sudden you introduce this better mining route. You see where I'm going? Like, it felt better to me when they were actually the same or combined. So you'll have to kind of wait.
But when you're looking at the underground mining, one of the things that sticks in my mind is very early on when CIG talked about outposts, when they first introduced the land claims way back then. One of the things they said is you'd find an outpost or an area of land that had all the minerals and stuff on it, and you'd set your land claim. And I actually think those underground mining stations would, because they're so stable and constant, you'd be building a mining building on there, not using a mining ship. So I kind of see that underground mining being more linked to the outpost mining building rather than ships. I could be wrong, but it just feels like that seems to be where they were heading way back then when they were talking about the land claims and stuff. But I don't disagree that the underground mining would be more profitable and that stuff. And they were talking about those land that land being making those land claims really profitable, the things you'd want to get, and the competition to get those really good land claims. And you and I could both put a land claim down, but then we'd have to go and record it at the office, and whoever got there to the office first got the land claim. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they develop that out. So
I can see. So yeah, I think that's the very long answer to your question there. Who was it that asked?
That was Stimpack Steve asking what two ships would want.
Yeah. So yeah.
And I don't think I really answered. I'd certainly go a big ship and a small ship, but I'm not sure which because of
kind of the way I'd go to. And
there's so many of the big ships
if you knocked it back
that aren't ready yet.
If you knocked it back to one, it would just be one large ship.
Yeah, I think so. And the problem with the large ships, the big capital ships at the moment, is we've got a couple in game, but the ships like the Kraken and the Endeavour and the Orion and we can speculate on the gameplay on how they're going to be, but we don't know exactly how they're going to function or work in game at present. So that makes it a bit harder for us to answer. You know, you could say, "Oh, the Endeavour," and the Endeavour ends up being a lemon. So yeah.
All right, next question.
Cody Fox.
Yeah, go for it.
Cody Fox says, "Do you think the next release will be a ground vehicle, and if so, which one?"
There's no way to tell what the next one will be. Yeah, it's really hard to tell. It kind of, this is the other thing, like they don't necessarily line up with what the patch has got anything to do. There's a real disconnect there. Like as we talked about last week, like this patch bundle is the mole. There's not really any mining, like the mining's bad to do during this event. You know, they're not even selling the Atlas. They should have sold the Atlas again. I know it's $40 and people go, "Oh, you're buying game real cheap," but it's good for this event, but it's not for sale on the store. You know, just little things like that just seem like this would have been a better. This is like a sale for another patch, not for this one, and it feels really weird.
You know, if you'd sold the Atlas, you'd have sold a crap ton. Like if you're talking fundraising, if you're talking money in the coffers, selling the Atlas again, yeah, you're going to sell. You're not selling as, you know, it's not as valuable as selling one mole, but you're going to sell a crap ton of Atlases just because of this event. You know, so yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
next one.
Joe Manreka.
What is your stance on having max lift colors as a reward instead of what we kind of talked about that?
Yep.
Yes. There's a Daft. Link it to me. I know you had an image that you made up. What if I can find it again? Give me a second. Oh yeah, got it here. Yep, got it. Hang on.
Person Dynamics max lift. Awesome. Sounds like a fantastic idea.
Hang on. I gotta get over to the right thing. So here, I think I don't know if this is the one he made, but this is the one that was in the general chat. So yeah, just very simple, making them red, black, white, and blue. Even that would have been really cool. Yeah, I could 100% get behind that.
I could even get behind doing that for the salvage tool as well. The big salvage rifle. Do the same thing.
Not quite used as
in the same boat.
Yeah,
not used as much.
No. Like the point he's trying to make is that this is the most
for this mission. Yeah,
this is the most popular weapon without a shadow of a doubt in the entire game, and it doesn't have skins. It's a bit insane. Yeah.
When you get nightmare skins and snow skins for gosh knows what else for every other weapon in the game. And for this mission, for basically the key part of this mission where you're either retrieving cargo or loading cargo, this is, you know, a tool you don't see anyone running around without one of those. And if you do, you kind of pity them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so having skins for those would be ideal. But yeah.
Demon Wolf says, given how well we received the raft is at the moment, do you think that it's possible it might win or at least end up in the top 4 of the ships? No, I don't think it will, because I think a lot of people still hate it. If you've seen how Pissball Pete's reacting, so if you weren't here for stream last week, basically I was on a stream with him and he said if someone donated $100 that he'd basically fly the raft for 24 hours, and he's been bitching at me all week because he's been flying the raft all week, and he refuses to try and use it properly. So he keeps using a max lift instead of using an Atlas and stuff like that. He's just like, and I'm like, go fly. Like he doesn't have to all do it in one block, but he just wants to do it all in one block. So instead of taking it as an educational opportunity, he's just being a dick. And instead of just like going trying to C2 to see what, and then going back to the raft, he's not going to get the proper experience, because as soon as you go to another ship, you understand why everyone's using the raft. It is quicker, faster, and he hates the raft. Mainly the biggest complaint he has is because it's all external cargo. And yes, in a full game where pirates would be around, obviously that is a problem, and I 100% agree. But during this event, it is the perfect ship for this event. But he's not utilizing and learning what he should learn about the ship.
But in terms of the piracy, one of the things I thought CRG had said early on is to take things off those cargo grids. You need to disable the shields or the power on the ship. So you'd have to, so if I'm in my constellation and you pirate me and you want my cargo, you've still got to disable my ship and take my shields down and basically soft def me.
But technically speaking, if you used ballistics, you can damage the cargo as a very simple example.
Okay.
So what he's saying, and he's not wrong, is there is a downside to external cargo, but the other part of it that he's not seeing or kind of refuses to admit is the external cargo has probably more benefits than detriments because you can quickly load it and unload it. Not only just that, like say take a C2, which is his favorite ship for doing this. The C2 has to be done at a very specific angle where you can almost come at it from three sides on the raft. And the fact that you're kind of loading it in and up on the raft is, I know that sounds weird, but because it's hanging there, you can kind of naturally stack it, where even when you're loading it into a C2 or a flat, any other ship that's flat, you've kind of got to go from back to front, and it's hard to explain, but when you
I know exactly what you're saying, because not only does the raft upward stack, but it almost sucks it up from a certain point. The second you get the blue, you can cut your thing out, boom, up it goes, and it's a long distance. The detection range is huge for the raft. In terms of that cargo grid, it's probably the best I've seen in terms of loading cargo, and as long as getting it in the right position might take you a bit of time, but if you're just chucking it up there, it's quick as anything. But and in fairness to Pete, as much as he hates it, I'm pretty certain I heard him or saw him agree last week that it's probably the best for the current mission in terms of loading and everything else. But
I just can't get him to use an Atlas. And I wish he would take the opportunity to try and use the ship in good faith. I think that's what annoyed me a bit. And it wasn't about making him fly for 24 hours. It's like what I had to do with you back in the day. And you would agree now, I've done it a few times, like what I did with the Caterpillar and stuff like that, where you have to go fly the ships that are shit to appreciate the ships that are better. Right. So, and what I mean by that was if you only ever fly the one ship, they bring out changes to ships all the time, right? The Raft is just one such example. You have to go try them to know what's bad about them, what's been improved, what makes your ship better than that. You get complacent is what I'm essentially saying. You need to refresh yourself.
It's very similar to, you'll remember the old hover mode flight pattern, which everyone hated. But the problem I felt with hover mode is people just didn't know how to fly their ship. Because if you flew a ship all the time, I was flying the 890 Jump and the Carrack and the Constellation back then. I never had problems with hover mode with those ships because I was flying them all the time. Second, I went in a shooting flight. Oh man, hover mode was an absolute bitch.
I didn't actually hate it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was like early days, but I could see what they were going for, and I actually thought it made flight a lot more interesting because landing, like you can literally fly nose in, just go right in, and as long as you stop before the ground, auto land, bang, done. And I still do that to this day. But now, once atmospheric flight comes in, or even thinking back to how it was, I can't do that anymore. I've actually got to give a shit about landing, and that actually is gameplay. And there is a skill to land. There is an entire guy on YouTube, I forget the guy's name, and all he does is videos of rating other people's landings at particular landing zones. And I laugh my ass off when I watch it sometimes because people can't fly for shit. They are terrible.
He's forgotten his landing gear. He put his landing gear down really early, and he gives his commentary on what they're doing in terms of flying their ship. But the thing I used to like about hover mode is every ship had, because of the way it was working, every ship had different characteristics. So you could fly a ship that you always use, and if you knew how the thrusters were functioning on that ship, had no problem. Second, you've used a ship you didn't know how the thrusters were you had all these problems.
Yep.
I like that fact that it made every ship different.
The guy's name is Hybrid V. So yeah, shout out to Hybrid V. Thank you, Citizen Dex, for calling that out.
Yeah, I do like his videos. I've watched them a few times when it's come up on the stream, just because it's a. I think it used to be easier when you could just go to a pad and just watch a pad and you watch people come and go. But now with hangers, it's a bit harder. But yeah, but certainly did like watching those videos. So yeah,
I cannot unsee now. Yes, I cannot unsee.
So
you got to admit, Argo, they're pretty similar. Come on. But that, when you look at it, you can't see it. Like
it's the Bulldog helm.
Yeah, that's the Bulldog helm. That's pretty similar. Like, just gonna say.
Although that helm makes him look like he's also sad, you know.
Yeah.
Sad face robot or Bulldog. Yep. Cody Fox has another question for us. He says, "Okay, you answered what 2 ships would be, but let's narrow it down to 1. What's your one essential ship if you could only have one?"
Just go one really big ship. It really doesn't matter. You know, you could in any really big fashion ship. So Reclaimer, Endeavor, Orion is probably the way I'd go because they're a money earner. When you go something big like an Idris or a Javelin or a Kraken, they are more subtractory. So you're losing money with those. You're not essentially gaining money. So, you know, something like Orion is just bringing pure profit in. And you can just use that to feed all your other stuff. And again, when it's up the top, it can feed to every ship below. And it would also still take a long time to get a Kraken, but it would speed that up. Again, multiple big ships at the top is kind of the way to go, especially if you've got one where like an Orion that can then feed a Kraken. You get best of both worlds like that. So
the other one that comes to mind is the Genesis Starliner. And the reason I say that is very early on.
Yeah.
They used to talk about the price of a Genesis Starliner being so much higher than the ships of its size and class, because right from the get-go, you would be able to earn money because you'd be picking up NPC cargo and delivering cargo. So because there was no need to go anywhere to get the cargo because it was just transporting people, you'd earn money a lot quicker. That was at least the rationale they had for it. And I'd assume, based on how they did it, you'd expect that to be the gameplay they're envisaging as the gameplay it'll end up having. But pick a ship that you like, a profession ship of a profession you like. Reclaimer at the moment is probably the best ship for that. Just because it can carry cargo, it can carry a lot of the salvage, and it can do everything, and you can do it solo. But it's going to be if you've got a mate or two, then it just enhances the speed and quickness you do those things. So, so yeah.
Mordred in chat just arrived and saw this and was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yep.
Tried to re-explain. Next question, Argrid, if you'd be so kind.
Next question is we did that one. Is Truther. Truther says, "What do you guys think of all the rewards offered for the event?"
Did have that up.
Yeah, it's good.
The only downside is how they're transmitted or submitted, because like look how many I've got now.
Yep.
It's literally an entire page in my hanger, and you know how big the pages are in hanger, so it's like I've got only a few more. Oh, okay, maybe it's not a whole page, but they have a large sleuth. Well, there's 5 per one basically. The low end stuff isn't that great, like just the clothing stuff. That's probably, I could have that or leave it. But that's probably where I'd put the max lift. I would have just made that level 1. The armor is kind of cool. I was running around in a bit of every piece of armor.
He was
freaking people out. It was pretty funny. They're like,
it just made me want to vomit.
Yeah,
just made me want to vomit.
Yeah,
you had too much Art Core and too much Microtech and too much Crusader.
I was dressing up like HC Vertigo. He does that. He has blodge armor all over the place. So
yeah.
But yeah, like
you didn't have enough person dynamic stuff. I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, so
totally disappointing.
No, I think some of the skins are really good though. Like I was really impressed with the Hurston stuff on the Hercules and stuff. It looks really cool because it's like all black on top, but then underneath it's like a snake. If you've ever seen
yep, like a black or something like that.
Well, I was going to talk about a king tiger because that's what we have here in Tassie, and they're all black on the top and yellow on the bottom. It instantly reminded me of that. But you know, you've also got the Mickey D's here. Which I know Paul's going for there at the moment because they all look like they're McDonald's ships. That's the next one I've got. As I said, I think I've got 3 missions left at tier 5 on that. But yeah, Microtech I haven't touched because again, I said this last week.
That's the last one you're going to work for.
Well, no offense to Microtech, and this is not taken out. It's like I hate Microtech, but your skins are shit, and I don't know who made the skins, but you should have looked at that and gone, oh, the default skins for half the ships are white. Let's not do white ships. Like, that's just
let's do blue and green. Or
I think the only reason Microtech actually is coming second is because there are a lot of people that like Microtech. And I'm telling you now, if you'd given them half decent skins, they would have taken this thing. Because they have the shittier skins is the reason they're not winning. And I don't know if that's by default or deliberate because you had the data. Maybe that's why it was. But as soon as you chucked in that 5% thing, like the day before I heard about that 5% thing, I thought Microtech were coming last just based on the skins. Because the only
5% thing,
well, they're basically just the default skins with green glass.
Yep.
And by the way, not all ships have green glass. Like, for example, the Constellations glass doesn't change color because it's an older model and they haven't updated that stuff on the Connie.
I would expect though, when they do update with Connie, it will it will get that. But yeah, like you give a discount, you get a bigger bonus for doing those missions. You're gonna earn those a lot quicker. But the same.
Yeah. I think a lot of people want it because they're out in Microtech, but if you actually realistically think about it as a whole, like you put the whole universe in perspective, location-wise, the things that are available, and you look at it that way, centrally located is Hurston, and the New Deal shipyard, 5% off every single ship, and they have more ships than any other shipyard. You just can't pick anywhere else. Like it'll be because it's so it's just. It's a no-brainer that it should go to Hurston, and that's not just because me and you operate at Hurston. It makes the most sense. It's going to benefit the most amount of people. And I would freely agree if Hurston was nuked and it didn't exist, it would then be Microtech because that's where the most people are. But you got to look at it from not a people, but what not the most people in one location, but the most people in the entire game. Plus what is available that's for sale. And I think the biggest discounts that you want would be on ships more than almost... Well, I know, you tell me if you think different.
I would imagine the biggest discounts you want or the biggest incentives you want to make people go elsewhere would be the places where people aren't. So where you want people to go.
Really?
So, yeah, well...
But you can only have one place that has the discount. Wouldn't you want it to go to the place where most people go?
No, I'd make the discounts where I want people to go because no one's going there.
No, but that's from a design perspective. But the players,
the players would want it where they live.
Yeah, which is why a lot of people want it in Microtech. But if it's not where they live and you're trying to share that between the most amount of people, now where would you put it then?
Well, if I'm putting it where
most people can access it.
I'd want to put it in the most central place. I'd want to put it in the place that's got the most things available. And that just happens to be Hurston.
Yeah, and then also the other part of that is where most people will get the best discount. And I also think that's Hurston because of the New Deal. They have more ships in New Deal than anywhere else. You've also got the attritions that a lot of people use, and they're some of so they'll get a discount. There's not the best stores there, but the New Deal alone is the best one. You sit there.
And the attritions are a damn good weapon. If I was being realistic, because they have those horrible tutorials that set you up in ArcCorp, and if new people are going and they're going to do the tutorial to learn how to fly and they end up in ArcCorp. That's where I'd put it because that's going to favour the new person. But that's again looking at design, not what benefits the most players.
Well, if you listen, like in Old Man Scene 24 in YouTube chat says, I would argue for ArtCorp as it's closer to Pyro Gateway and sells a little of everything. Yeah, that's absolutely true. It does have a little bit of everything, but the biggest discounts are going to come from ships, and the hardest thing for people to get is ships. There's two ways you could lay it, and I would actually totally agree with Old Man that my second choice would be ArtCorp. For the reasons he state, it's close to the jump point. The other reason is why I go against Microtech, because it's also the furthest from the jump point.
Yeah.
And I would say of the 4 planets, it's the most isolated. It's the least that would get used, but there are a lot of people there.
And I think that's why it gets a discount, because it's the one that would be least used.
No, it doesn't it doesn't get a discount. It gets a discount based on who wins the event.
Okay. But you really want Hurston to get it.
Well, Hurston's going to win. They're massively in the lead. I go back onto Twitter. Give me a second. I'm pretty sure I posted where I was up to yesterday. Give me a second.
The last I saw, Hurston seemed to be almost.
So this is
orange bar.
So this is when was this posted? This is 20 hours ago, right? So it's changed a little bit since then, but you can see there that Hurston has got almost 99 million and Microtech is second with 61. So they're almost 40 million in front. To put that in, if you combined Microtech and ArtCorp together, you are then equaling Hurston. And to be honest, Crusader's not that far in front of Microtech. It's kind of crazy. So Hurston is well and truly way out in front. And as you said, a lot of people are time poor, so they're just going to only ever be able to go for one. So they're going to go for the best looking skins.
Yeah.
And
Hurston Dynamics, like, how can I argue that Hurston Dynamics are not the best place to be? Because
what I would recommend to do though, for anyone that has not done the event yet or that is about to start or whatever, is I'd actually go to 311 in each one of them. That is essentially 2 large missions. So if you do the starting mission and then just do 2 large missions, because that'll give you the clothing and the armor set for every single one. And then after that is where it starts to get really grindy. Again, not to shit on Microtech, this is not, and I want you to I'm taking myself out of this. They are the worst skins, right? So I've almost pretty much done this in preferential order for myself personally. What I'm saying is do them in preferential order for yourself. So I did Hurston all the way to the top. Then I came back and did all of them to level 2. And then I did Crusader all the way to the top because I thought they had the second best skins. I'll be doing ArtCorp all the way to the top because I think they're the third best. And then if I've got time and can be actually bothered because their skins are so generic, then it'll be Microtech. And I think that is the whole reason why Microtech will probably... I'm just really interested to see how this spits out. I'd love them to release data at the end of this to show how many people got to each tier and stuff like that. I'd love to see that metric. Because I know there's people that have done them all already. There was a guy when I hit tier 5 on Hurston, he'd done all 4. And
who's time rich.
Well, there was a mission called Red Wine that was in Pyro, where you can pick up all this cargo, and it was copper or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but you essentially can fill a whole sea with it, bring it all the way back to fly it through the jump point. So it's a bit hard to do because you've got it's a full whole sea and navigate it. But if you get it back, you could actually hand them in and do all 4 missions in one go. And so the very next patch, they took it out of the game. Because they were like, "What? How did they do that so quickly?" And those sods of bitches. And so any loopholes that people have found, they've removed the game. There's a really funny one at the moment. I won't tell you exactly what it is, but there's a starter mission where they give you 10 SCU of I think it's Tunskin or something like that at Hurston, and you can keep that starting mission, cancel it, and the guy actually managed to do the first the first 4 starting ones just by pulling out 10 SCU. And then cancelling the missions and then sending it down to complete the other one. So we just did it repetitively over and over. It doesn't have to go anywhere, but it's only doing 10 at a time. So that's the downside. But I actually think up to a certain point, that actually would be faster than going out and doing the mission. But once you get into
given the way cargo lifts are not working at the moment, yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, just to write saying Echo Bit smashed them and you got them all done in 3 days. Yeah. So in the time it took me 3. I think it was 3 or 4 days to do the first one. So some people are just naturally gifted with the cargo, and they got it done really quickly. But
some people are just naturally lucky with the cargo lifts.
So I think it shows the people that have already done cargo, they've kind of like gone straight to the top. But I learned that the Atlas is actually really important. It really surprised me how good that thing is. It is almost like an essential purchase for when doing cargo now. And again, CIG marketing, why the hell are you not bundling that shit together?
No.
Why the hell was it an Argo mole and an armor suit? Why wasn't it an Atlas with a fancy skin and an Argo Raft? That shit would have sold like hotcakes. And you could have had
Atlas and a Raft.
You could have had a full bundle that included the Raft and the Atlas and a max lift with a skin on it, and then have just a skin bundle. See, that's what you're doing wrong. You're bundling all the shit to sell this big thing. So have that, then also have just the skin bundle, and then have the skin separated. People can choose what they want.
But not only have your big bundle, have your big bundle with all of them, then have your mole by itself and your Raft by itself and your Atlas by itself and your.
That's essentially what I said. But if you listen again, sell the physical ship with it as well.
Yep.
So that would be like a Raft that is like a Raft's like $125. You've got an Atlas that's $40, and you've got whatever the skins work out to be. So you bundle that. So let's just say, like, I'm just going to throw a number there, like $150, right? And then just have the skins, and that'll probably be the $25, $30 like they've been selling them at. But then also have them separate, because it hits every single tier all the way along. Because if you're not into the Raft, but you've got an Atlas and you don't want the max lift, you can just buy the Atlas skin. You're maximizing your sales. Forcing them all into bundles just pisses people off.
Your sales.
It pisses people off. It really, really does.
And I actually think, like, if you're selling the things separately, but your big bundle has a discount, it actually encourages people to possibly buy the big bundle, because they go, oh yeah, I've got this, I got this, I got this. Oh, if I wanted all three, I'd have to pay this. But if I get this bundle, I actually get a discount on this stuff. So people will go, yeah, but it's cheaper to get that. So they go the bigger pack. So sometimes marketing just doesn't seem to, they seem to shoot their. What about they
the other advantage is
do stuff to fight themselves, but
as more people get the missions completed, it will free up the landing zones for other people to come along and do it. So it will
I hope so.
De-escalate, so to speak, over time.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Citizen Ninja. Do you think the Liberator and Arrester might be the next big ships in production following the release of the Ironclad and Perseus?
I still have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of the Anvil ships are more than likely coming in, I'd say most likely episode 3, but in other episodes is what I'd say. And my reasoning for that, right, and I've said this before, is you can kind of look, and if you know, you've got to connect a few dots, right? So we know in lore that Aegis is on the way out and Anvil's on the way in. We know that in Squadron 42 that there is a lot of the starting missions you're fighting with pirates. And you can kind of see how the story is more than likely going to play out, because we've seen this in other movies and genres and stuff like that. So basically, they're fighting, the two human sides are fighting. The aliens rock up, and so they have to start working together. Right? I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to happen, or something to that effect. Or you're going to be in trouble taking on the aliens, and then the pirates are going to turn up and save you. Something akin to that. I can tell something like that's going to happen. And I reckon in episode 2, that's why they're making the Kraken. That's also why we don't see the only fighter we have from Drake is the Buccaneer, right? Where's the medium fighter? Where's the heavy fighter from Drake? So they've got to come out as well. So I think that's what'll happen. And then somewhere halfway through Squadron 42 episode 2, you'll probably move on to something like the Polaris, the newer Idris, as you know the lore, Algared. So you move on to the Polaris, and then that's a small ship. So then you move up from that onto something like a new Anvil one or something like that towards the end in episode 3 or something to that nature. I can see the progression, and also the fighters kind of follow you as you go along. So you'd want the best, biggest, deadliest fighters in episode 3. Now, I could be completely wrong, completely off the mark on all of that, but that's just the connecting a lot of dots. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, look, whether they go down that line or not, the progression seems reasonable. It certainly does seem. We know that we're up against the pirates initially. We also know there are Vandal in Squadron 42, so that seems to make sense. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that progression being the case. In terms of the ships, what comes? Yeah, I know we keep looking for that capital ship from Anvil. That keeps being teased, but we never seem to hear it.
Well, again, there's no gameplay reason for it right now, and you really look at it, the only real need for it is going to be Squadron. And you connect all those dots, it makes the most sense. We have a myriad of fighters right now, but you can also look at other gameplay like agriculture, science. We don't have any of that, again, because they don't have their gameplay. So using the dots, you can kind of go why certain things are not here and why other things are. And we don't have any of the e-warfare, but that sounds like a gameplay that would fall into Squadron 42. And you kind of go, well, that's a newer technology. Wouldn't that be in the later episodes? A really simple rule in game development is a rule of thirds. So when you do a sequel, as an example, you take a third, you split into thirds. So you have a third that's completely new, a third that is modified or updated, and then you have a third that's the old game. That is a really good rule to kind of refresh it and bring it up to par. And you can go back and look at a lot of sequels and stuff like that, and you will see that is a pretty common
fair call.
Yeah. So again, you know, how do you put a spin on that, and how do you modify that? Well, you can kind of see that with what I've just said. When you jump from one ship to the next, even going even going from the Javelin to the Idris, you know what I mean? Like that's it feels kind of the same because it's Aegis, but it's different, right? You can see where they're going there. And it's smaller, but I can still launch ships off and stuff like that. And then you go over to the Kraken. It's I can still launch ships, but it's in a different way, you know. So you can see where they're. Oh wait, now I'm in a Drake fighter, not an Aegis fighter, or I'm in an Anvil fighter, not in an Aegis fighter. You can see what I mean. So there's a similar commonality there. You can even see in the tutorial level where they put you in a turret and essentially teach you how to shoot before you even learn how to fly. I guarantee you in the next level, somewhere in that level, you'll be at the training school, and
you'll be at the academy, and you'll be learning to fly. Exactly.
It's like learning to walk before you run, you know.
And you can see that because in the first one, you're learning the shoot. You're learning the controls for moving your character around. And then at the end of that, your induction at the academy, where you're a pilot. You're going to learn to fly.
And they'll probably teach you there how to change weapons and try out different weapons at a shooting range or something like that, because they're bringing you up and branching you out. So again, you only see one gun in that first tutorial level. And I think the only prompt I ever saw come up was like R to reload. They don't really go any further. They don't teach you how to switch weapons or anything like that because it's not required, and they don't want to overwhelm you.
And if you go back and look at Wing Commander, the game. Once you got your ship, you had your mechanic come up and say, you can reload your ship and put these different things on it, and they take you through the different loadouts you could have on your ship and how you wanted to configure your ship for the mission that was coming. And so, as part of learning to fly your ship, I can see you're going to be learning the different loadouts and the roles and positions of the different things. So it makes sense in terms of gameplay and gameplay development and bringing your players along with where you want to go. So that all makes a lot of sense in that regard. So yeah.
All right, we're down to 5-6 questions.
Half a dozen lessons. Yep.
Now
the next question by D14 Lone Star.
Before you go into questions, though, so get some more questions in, please, because we've only got a few left. Yep, go ahead.
Yep. So D14 Lone Star's question, we're not going to answer it now, because we've actually been talking about redoing an episode we did ages ago on a fleet on a budget. So if we only had the question basically says, if you only had $1,000, what would your fleet be without CCUs? So that's an episode that is going to be redone and come up at a later point. So
also, we've got to redo that episode that came out this week because
we do because
I stuffed up the thing. So I put a video in the background, and when I was playing it, we were just sitting there. There's no sound for the video, but then when we recorded it, I uploaded the video, and it had this blaring commercial in the background. Only about 600 people saw it before I took it down. But
it was horrendous.
It was horrendously bad. So
when we're recording it, we couldn't hear that.
Yeah, so we're gonna redo that, and I'll make sure. Again, it's when we do little weird things off the cuff that tend to stuff things up. So yeah, I'll make sure that's all working.
Yep. We thought that was a nice. Yeah. We did think that was a nice.
We even said after recording, I wish we'd added these things to the recording or done things differently, so we can probably do all those now.
We did say that. Yeah. But one of the things we did think when we were doing it is that it was a nice difference from just having us talking heads. It was just the run through of the ships as we were talking about, because the old ad does literally go through the benefit of all the Auroras. So so we were experimenting, and we made an error in our presentation.
Yeah.
So the next question is from Radium TX. Is there a Media's buyer guide coming, or did you miss it? No, you haven't missed it. We do intend to do it.
Argared's just been out of the country for 2 weeks.
I've been out of the country for 2 weeks. I've only just had a chance to have a look at it, and I want to have a longer look at it.
So I could have technically done without him, but I just thought I'd wait till we get back. We already had episodes recorded, so it wasn't in a rush. And then I did also pull one out of the bank this week that had been sitting there for a long time. But generally when I pull ones out, they're ones that I know that aren't going to view very well. And I was right, it didn't view very well. We just did what was it, like an update on the old systems that need to be finished and the tech that makes the game great type of thing. But yeah, we've still got a couple other there in the bank, but we need to. I actually booked a ticket this week for the Philippines, so I'm actually going for 2 weeks between CitizenCon and AIE. I think it's like the 15th to the 27th, so that'll be the 16th to the 28th in the up over. So you'll be out with me for 2 weeks. We'll have to see if we can get Paul to fill in, or otherwise there just won't be a stream for 2 weeks.
Well, we fudge things and work out what we can do.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Long story short, I'll be going for 2 weeks, but we'll have to get a couple of at least 3 recorded episodes before I'm going.
Yeah, we certainly want to get some more in the bank because it just makes life so much easier for us.
Yeah.
So yes, there is one that is coming. I still want to have a longer look at it. I have had a bit of a look.
But I'm hoping
elements I like, but elements I don't like.
Long story short, we're hoping to get the Aurora one re-recorded this weekend and the Meteor.
Yeah. That would be our goal.
Yeah. So I think just because the Aurora one went out, we might have to think about that. Do we do the Aurora first, or we do the? Well, we'll have a talk about that. We'll work it out.
Yeah. Shempasta has a question for us. Shempasta says, with the new mission resource drive, the initial issues that came up were with freight elevators. What are your thoughts regarding CIG's lax attempts at fixing basic game mechanics like freight elevators, transit inventory, etc.? And do you think this should become a priority now?
Sorry, I'm doing stuff, as you can see. Sorry,
I can see you're doing stuff.
You'll have to read.
So the Shimpaster's question is basically, with this mission and the way freight elevators not working, and CIG seems to have a very lax attempt to repair or fix them, should that become a priority?
I think it is a priority, but as you've stated, there are people that don't know the code because they've left and stuff like that. So I think it's showing that they probably don't know how to fix it at the moment, because again, they essentially released 2 patches, and they essentially made it worse. Like, one of the bugs at the moment that's been in the game for about 3 or 4 days now, I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, it was about 2 p.m. in the afternoon here in Australia. When you take the cargo out and put it into your cargo bay, you used to be able to stack it up as normal. Now, as soon as you go higher than 1 stack of cargo, it gives an internal error. So you can only fill. So before I'd like unload my raft, and I'd only have to do like 3 unloads. Now I've got to do like 7 or 8. Yeah. So again, progressively getting worse, not better.
And I think that's the issue when you're trying to bring the cargo up from the elevator downstairs, is because the cargo is wanting to stack. It's not being able to be loaded onto the hangar without giving you that error. So, and because we can't actually organise the stacking of a cargo on those elevators, doesn't matter what amount you try to load up. The second it goes beyond that one level, it doesn't come up. But yeah, it's frustrating.
I just wanted to show you this real quick because hopefully we got a little bit of revenge on someone. But Pete sent me this message just now. That's Pissball Pete, but when you use streamer mode, it blocks people's names. So that is Pissball Pete, if you know the dog icon. But he says, instead of taking it as an educational opportunity, he's just being a dick. And then he laughed his ass off and he spat out his pop. I thought he said poop for a minute, but he says pop. And then he said factually true, because he is being just a dick. Instead of taking it as he needs to take it as an educational opportunity, because that's how I meant it. But yeah. Right. Anyway, well, hopefully he's got
he was drinking. So
clean his monitor.
The downside for Pete is that he's now got fizzy drink all over his keyboard and monitor. So yeah. So
anyway, hopefully he I meant it as I didn't mean I don't even think he needed to fly it for 24 hours. I think if he'd literally just gone backwards and forwards between the raft and the C2 a couple of times.
You even said that last week.
Yeah.
Not 24 hours straight, but just fly it for a total of 24 hours.
In fact, I would be willing to say you can cut your time in half if you just do the C2 and that a few times, because it's the same thing. Like if I went and did it in a Caterpillar, it would show me why it's even more annoying than a C2, right? So you could go the other extreme and go completely the other way.
Yeah, what ships?
Yeah, I don't think you need to do that though.
Pick up the ships and show why they are more annoying than.
Well, I've seen some very strange people. I was going to say idiotic, but some very strange people actually doing it with a reclaimer.
Like the only ship they've got.
They back it up to the elevator, completely covering the pad, lower the thing down, and they load it all on and bring it up in. It's insane to me. And there are people attempting to do it in Idris's. I've seen people blasting off they bring down the spindle and they shoot off the bottom spindle, and then they can land the whole C, and then they're loading it onto a whole C. I've seen not lots, but Starfarers, which just don't work either. They're showing very quickly how it's not very max, because it just can't hold as much cargo. That's just weird.
You know, the Starlancer.
The Starlancer. What did I say? Starfarer. Yeah.
You said Starfarer.
Yeah, I do that a lot. What else?
I was thinking the Starfarer would be quite a good ship because it does have that cavernous cargo hold at the moment.
But the I haven't seen a Starfarer actually. That would maybe I should try that.
I was just thinking I'll have to try that myself.
The C1 Spirit I see a lot because of its speed. Especially the interesting thing is besides the large mission, the Spirit can do all of them. So if you're happy to do it in a medium, like just keep doing the mediums, which again, not as many people are grabbing because everyone's trying to grab the larges. You could probably just do it quicker in a Spirit because of its speed. Maybe I should test that. I haven't really tested. Yeah, maybe I will. Yeah, so it's just interesting to see all the different things. But the Raft being a medium ship that can carry essentially what's meant to be for a large ship is very, very interesting. I think also in hindsight, like I said about the ships, they should have had ships that unlock as you go. So if I only have an Aurora, if I can get to the next stage, when it unlocks the skin for the Aurora, the Spirit, and the Zeus, it should have also temporarily, for the month, unlocked those ships.
Unlocked a ship for me to be able to use as a free flight.
Exactly. And then when you get up to the next one, it unlocks the Raft,
and of course, doing that encourages the person with only a raft to actually fly another ship, and then they go, "Oh, I really like that ship."
Exactly.
And I buy it.
It's really strange because I am seeing more and more evidence of non-internal communication. Why isn't the mission team going, "Hey, we're planning to do this marketing team. You should be selling this, not a mole." Right?
Yeah.
Hey, mission team, we're doing this. Hey, ship guys, can you have these ships go for the free fly when this is on? It's just there's a massive freaking disconnect, and I don't get it, because if there was someone there standing overall, now I know Chris is really working on Squadron 42, as is Richard Tyra, but someone should be there going and connecting these dots. Like you and I have done it, and I know everyone in chat's done it, right? And we're not fucking scientists or geniuses. We're just seeing the obvious, right?
But if we're sitting there seeing the obvious, then
why haven't they?
Seeing what makes sense. Yeah.
Why haven't they? It's just crazy to me. So, again, hopefully they're taking this all in as feedback. They've seen it. It's obvious to them, and they improve. And I think you would agree, this, even though that this has the cargo lift problems, I still prefer this event over the last one.
Look, 100%. 100%. I prefer this over the last one. Even the fact that there's the variety of options you've got in mining, and reclaim and cargo. Even though there's issues with that, I prefer that option to just a pew pew mission.
Yeah. And then again, making it so that the box sizes unlock as you go up as well could be a thing as well. And yes, you might have to rescale to fit that. But also, there's 4 sets of missions you can do, but they're completely out of whack and scale. Like you said, there's no reason to do the mining one. The attack ones are kind of fun, but no one can get them. But they're also out of whack compared to the cargo ones. The fastest way to do this is just do the cargo and just grind it out like a crazy mofo. Yep. But again, you can literally take a C2 and fit 4 large missions worth of cargo on a C2. Yep. It's crazy to me. So again, there are other people finding other ways to do it. So what they're doing is they're taking a C2, doing one mission, dropping it, picking it back up, and dropping it to that same location, comes back up in their feed, picking it up and doing it again. And then when they go to hand it in, they don't hand it in as the mission. They hand it as then just handing in cargo. And when they, like a pirate, and then they literally do that, and then basically they're getting 4 times the amount of SCU, because it's all SCU based. So again, making it SCU, I understand why they did that, but they also should have taken the time account into effect. So the fact that someone goes out and mines it is not given any consideration at all, and that's a bit weird, right? Someone had to pay for their combat and their time and stuff like that. So I actually think there should be, what they should have done is not made it SCU based. They should have made it like resource rescue credits based.
Yeah.
And then, which is the cruel irony is they had this in the last patch and they didn't use it in this one.
I know.
They had a currency. Why didn't?
I would have liked to see, even, because the missions are different, have different rewards for the different styles. Yeah, you're still adding to the tail of which corporation's winning, but do things to encourage people to do each aspect of the mission.
That'll eventually come in the final game. That's a given. If you're doing mining stuff, you're going to unlock mining stuff, right?
But if you've got a mission that you've got 3 components for, I would have thought you'd have had rewards for each of those different aspects. And I think that's an oversight from CIG, that they've got this mission that does all elements, and yet it really only rewards cargo delivery. It doesn't really reward combat, and it doesn't reward mining. In fact, it actually makes you not want to do mining because it takes so much longer.
You got to look at it from an outside developer perspective. They can only work on one area at a time, and again, in the final game, you can see it though. This will be the cargo one. Again, all the ships that get skins are essentially cargo focused. If they next time did a mining event, and then all those skins are then the same skins but tailored towards mining ships, and then they do it again and they do a cargo one. So my hope is these skins stay in, but another event comes along and you can get the skins for doing the cargo section, like you're saying, essentially.
Yep. And And I can see, you know, the main. If I'm looking at from what are they trying to test, it clearly seems to me they're wanting to test the cargo lifts, the cargo delivery, the whole that whole mechanic as opposed to the other stuff.
They're trying to test your patience. They're trying to test your fucking patience.
Okay, yeah. Well, they're testing my patience. They have tried my patience. They've worn my patience out more than any Year 8 class ever could. So,
yeah.
So there you go. And they've made you throw things around your room. So there you go. Okay, Gore-Tex.
I was just going to say, I was about to smash one out in about. I could smash a large mission out in about 30 minutes, but there are people in chat saying they could do it in 20, so that's pretty impressive. So yeah,
that's impressive. If you got, well, I imagine if you get the lifts working, you get a cool run. Yeah, you can do it quick. But if you don't get, if the lifts are broken, then
well, I had people going off at me because it was taking them 45 minutes, and another guy was taking an hour, and they were annoyed that I was getting them done in half an hour because I was doing 2 to their 1. So I can only imagine how annoyed they'd get at Marcus in there in chat getting Marco doing 3 in their 1.
I can just see how people like you would get annoyed at people like me because I would take longer.
That's fine.
But then hopefully people like you would then help people like me do the loading or stuff, and I've seen that.
Every time there's people in front of me, I help them because it helps myself. If I'm helping them speed up, they get out of my way sooner, so I can go.
And I've seen that, and I think that's.
But that usually comes
gameplay you want.
Usually comes back to bite me because someone else will push in while I'm doing that.
And
so
and it does need to be a better way of.
Do I sit in my ship and sit there and wait to take the spot? Or do I go down and help and speed it up and risk someone else pushing in front of me? And every time I've helped, I've been punished for it. So and it's always some asshole that just refuses to get out of the way, even though they're pushed in. And there can be people that are like 4 to 5 people, like I said, and they just aggravate everyone. And all they have to do is wait, and everyone will be happy.
So far, I've only seen at most 2 people on a pad. But multiple ships, like 2 people actually there. The rest has been abandoned ships just strewn everywhere.
You've hit the weekend.
A salvager's dream.
Well, you've hit the weekend now. Now the chaos will ensue. I guarantee you it's going to be a lot worse now on the weekend than it's been. So we'll see how it goes.
Ideally, a salvager's dream if the ships are outside of the no fire zone.
So the worst thing I saw during the week. The biggest, this is literally griefing, right? It was a guy on the Australian servers, and I'm almost tempted to name him. That's how bad it was, right? But this guy went round, because you can grab the missions and drop them. So he was grabbing them to find all the locations. It was on one server, he went around in every elevator on one planetary system, and then he was moving to other planetary. He was doing every elevator in the game. But the first ones he set out was the Hurston ones. What he was doing was he was spawning his Nova tank, reversing into the elevators with the engine still on and the shield still on, so you couldn't pick it up with an SRV. So there was no way you could remove it. And he went from so he'd do it at all 3 elevators at one location, moved to the next, and some locations only had 1 elevator, but he literally blocked up every single elevator on the server for Hurston and was moving on. I literally took photos of it and reported him to people at CIG. It's the biggest grief I've ever seen, because it just literally shuts down the entire server until they restart it, and they had to restart it. And I've never seen more combined in hatred on one person than anyone. And the thing that he didn't realize is you can scan the tank, or you can see who owns it. So we have evidence that he owned it, who he is. He's done. He's going to get his account probably banned. So again, you want to be bad guy, you get punished. Bad boys get punished. So, I'd rather people get punished now than a full game. You imagine that in a live release, like as in all the normies. And I'm seeing a lot of normies coming back for the event to get the skins, and they get incredibly frustrated from all the bugs, and they just leave.
Yeah, well, I'm frustrated by all the bugs. Drive me insane. And I think it's certainly when you're time poor, when your time is more limited. those bugs really impact you more. Your frustration levels go through the roof more.
Yeah.
Because I've only got X amount of time to play. And I've done this, and now it's bugs in the game that are actually stopping me do the game or do the stuff.
Chris in YouTube, this is the problem that the attitude people are having. There is definitely a lot of people who have had the attitude of my time is more valuable than your time.
Yeah. Not everyone's time is valuable.
You can't do that. You have to be polite and ordered, because as soon as you push in, just things go to chaos. And the thing is, guess what happens is it ends up working out for nobody, because like what happened with me, we were having we were like, no, stop that. I'm not waiting for you. Ram him off the pads. He rams us back. It just all goes to chaos. And who ended up losing that whole thing? He lost and I lost, because I went on my way to make sure the guy that he was trying to stuff over wasn't stuffed over. And I've got no problem with that, because I knew I've got more free time, right? And that guy had to go soon. So I said, here, look, I'll help you out. But again, if he just waited his turn or said, hey, do you guys mind helping me load mine after you've loaded yours? I would happily park mine off to the side if he'd help me load mine. And because that's what, if someone helps me, I will turn around and help them. There was a guy, so yesterday I felt really bad because this guy landed next to me in a hole A, and he helped me load my raft, annoyingly so, because he was doing it with a Mac lift, but I still, cool, I get what you're trying to do. And then after I'd finished, I said, dude, open your lift and I'll help you put stuff on your hole A. And the elevator was bugged for him, or the mission was bugged and he couldn't do it. And I could just see he was totally, like, he wasn't talking or typing, but just the way his character was standing there going, what do I do? And he was in a noob suit, so you could tell he was like, he'd just come back to play this event, like someone returning. And I just felt so bad for him. I was just like, and I asked him, so what's wrong? What's happening? And I think what's happened was somewhere along the line he got a crime stat or something, and it's just deleted the mission from his thing. But again, he didn't know what he'd done. You know, like he didn't know where to. You can go into your journal and you can kind of see that you got a crime stat, but it's not evident. You know, that there's all these things missing, and so this is not a game for new people, so to speak. Like we need to get it to that level so a new person can come in and understand and not be frustrated. And you can see the frustrations we're having. I can only imagine how much that is compounded by a new person.
And for a new person who's coming in who's still learning how to play the game, it becomes frustrating. Like one of the guys at the bar citizen playing for a week, helped out by his org, you know, in terms of the ship pack to get. So he picked up a nice starter ship. They were doing an org event. He missed the org event because he was flying his ship to the event and crashed it, which sent him back to his start location.
But you're reminding me of all those events back in the day where you'd spend 2 hours getting out there, and then some bug would just fall over in the middle of all these people and dead, and you're just like, fuck this, I'm not spending another 2 hours getting back out there again.
Yeah, and you go, I'm done.
I'm done.
Look, I got that way last night. You know, like I'm doing the missions. You know, and then it was the list wouldn't work, and it got to the point after 45 minutes of flying there, trying two different locations for the lift, and still not getting anywhere. I just went, I'm done. I got better things I can do. I can either watch a video, talk to certain people on the phone. It just
So long story short, we've come a long way though. Like it could be a lot worse.
Indeed, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, Cortex.
Yep.
Do you think we will ever see a mining ship between the sides of the Orion and the Astra?
Eventually, they said that they do want to have competitors to a lot of ships, but I think what is more likely to happen with mining specifically is ships tailored at underground mining. And I don't know if they'll be bigger or larger or smaller, but they'll probably be at least 4 of them, I'd say.
I would expect that the buildings are going to kind of be the larger or more effective way to do underground mining. You put a building down and mine. But I would expect to see a ship between the Orion and your Astra, because the Orion is so big. It's the capital version, and you want to have a ship in every size. And So I could see CIG doing that. But I could also see, as you said, bringing in ships to do underground mining. And I think part of the reason we don't have that, and part of the reason we don't have Erastra yet is, and the refinery aspect is because we're going to have base building coming that's going to deal with a lot of that stuff as well. So,
well, we run through a lot of theories. Myself, Grim, and Trispone in a little group we've got, and one we've been toying around with for a bit is that this actually might be one of the first underground miners. And a lot of people go, why would that be coming in the game now? Well, we know the Pioneer's coming. We know that it's going to be able to land and extract resources. So why wouldn't you take that mechanic and put it into a ship on its own? Look how it's sitting on the ground. Why does it sit in a weird position like that? Because it lands on a node or it drills down into a node or something like that. Now, it sounds really weird and bizarre, but a lot of people say this looks Drake, and a lot of people say, well, that's a Drake industrial cab. You connect the dots. What landing weird like that all of a sudden makes a lot of sense. And as I've said to Grim and Trispone and you guys as well, with the most likely wing transition thing, because it's got one really big wing on one side and a small one on the other, it's more than likely got to fly vertically. That's not good for heavy fighters. So I don't think it's a fighter. I think it's an industrial ship of some kind. And again, why do you need it to go vertical? Well, then all of a sudden it's like a massive flying you know those drills they used to put telegraph poles in the ground and stuff? I'm trying to think of what I saw. Actually, I was watching a SpaceX video where they were drilling. They're putting up a new big giga hangar there to build the rockets in, and they were drilling and then putting like pouring concrete in to create the piles and stuff. That's kind of where the idea came from, by the way. I was just like, hang on, I wonder if that's what this is. And yeah, so anyway, connecting. I connect dots in weird ways, but I don't know, just an idea. Why does it need to sit vertical like that? And again, I thought of the Pioneer and then I brought up to those guys. So it is really off the cuff, and it's probably not that at all. But I'm just trying to bring the thoughts of how I think to your attention and try and think a little bit outside the box. But this is a weird ship, and trying to think about what it does is I love these mysteries. I love trying to solve them, and 9 times out of 10 I am completely wrong. But there's just something I enjoy about trying to suss that out. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think in some ways the designs and what was the rationale of the way ships were built, so you could actually use that style to identify the manufacturer and everything else is kind of going out the window.
A lot,
We're seeing RSI ships that are more like Drake ships than RSI ships.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Meteor.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm not sold on what manufacturer that is yet. Again, it could have been kit bashed out of Drake ships, but it turns out to be a different manufacturer. And the one I will reference is the Terrapin. That started as an Aegis ship and ended up as an Anvil ship.
When they started building it, yeah.
And you can also look at ships like the what's that other one? The Vulcan. The Vulcan looks so Anvil, yet it's an Aegis ship. So maybe that's what happened. They swapped the Terrapin. I don't know. I'm making shit up there, but yeah.
So, Shampasta,
please.
Do you feel these missions are too grindy?
It's a tough one.
Because at the moment, I find them too frustrating.
I think if they worked, they'd be fine. But they're frustrating because they're not working. And as I said, like I can see that I'm able to get it all 4 done. But I don't think realistically you're gonna, when the final game is out, you're not gonna need to have all 4 done. You could do them all, right?
Look,
but do you really need 4 skins for your ship? No, you just need the one that you like the most.
I think they feel grindy because they're not working effectively, because the lifts are broken. So you're doing, it's taking you 3 or 4 times to find one that's working. So it adds to that sense of being grindy. But when I was doing them in PTU, I didn't find them grindy at all. It was repetitive, but it wasn't grindy. It was.
So Patch 44 says, for me, it's grindy to do all 4, but one was okay. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. He summarized what I was saying in one sentence. Tomo says, with no variation with other missions, it's a pain in the backside. And that's kind of getting back to what you and I were saying. Like, if you could, if they were all on the same level or balanced, and again, they probably have to have them out and see how they work. And I reckon if they do this again, like what you were suggesting with a mining skins coming in, also having the cargo skins, you could probably bring the mining up to be more equal with the cargo hauling. It's going to be learning what that is, but I totally agree. Even just having 2, like mining and hauling, would be cool, but having all 4, because then you got that variety. So I do agree with you, Tomo. But if you start to see, I think that's what they're trying to do. Then obviously, and I think the other one they probably need to add is salvage. There is no salvage mission. So maybe that's the next one they should do, is doing a salvage event, but also have the option to do the other ones and then bring them all in and try and get them to work out to the same level.
Rabbit has a question. He says, Jared confirmed the Apollo during SLC, or SCL, sorry, for this year. Do you think we might see non-medical modules for it?
That's something we've talked about.
It is something we talked about. I'm pretty certain when we were talking to John and Ben, we actually raised the Apollo and suggested that. And my impression was, or my memory says, they indicated they had no intention at present of doing a variant of
they
the
also
Apollo.
didn't have any intention of doing they didn't know what they're going to do with the modular system, but it clearly looks like now in the file, not in the file, sorry, but from what they've been saying, that where was it? The monthly report. It was in the monthly report that the rooms now look like they work actually as modules. So they've actually started to work on some of the modular code. So if that's the case,
so that kind of answers part of the questions that CIG didn't know in November last year.
Well, it also makes it
October last year, but
it makes them easy to do a variant, because all you do is you just make another room.
Yep.
And then it becomes a completely different ship. And from their point of view, it's literally just, it is another room variant, but to us, they can sell it as a completely different ship.
Yep.
You know,
without it being an actual module, they could.
Yeah. Well, some ships, like realistically, if you look at let's take the Meteor, right? When they redid the Mantis, they redid the Meteor, they redid the internal room for the Mantis. So they both share the same room, but it's the outside that's different. So if you look at a new Apollo, what do you do there? Well, you change the internal room, you add a bunch of fins, and then you've got another variant. And a different texture. That's it. So it's not that much extra work, because once you've already got it unwrapped, it's literally just drawing it in Photoshop, which probably takes the most amount of time. And again, if you've got the room, you could literally, and let's go even a level lower, you could keep the room, just remove the bed. So the only thing it is art-wise is pulling the beds out and say you made it a luxury variant, one's a pool table and one's a bed. Done. There's your luxury Apollo variant.
And you're not doing and even though they are effectively modules, you've still got the modular system. Just because they're using the modular system doesn't mean it's modular for us. It's modular for the developers in their building of a ship. It's
the obvious one I missed there is a cargo variant.
Yep.
2 empty rooms that you can put cargo in, or they put cargo rigs on the floor.
Take the rooms out and just straight across. Yeah.
I was watching Paul yesterday. He was talking about this, and he was saying that it's most likely not coming with the drone, but I hope it is coming with the drone, because again, the drone that they need for base building is very similar to it's an A to B drone. They called it. It's an A to B drone for this. So I would hope, again, if you think about it, how you're breaking things off that the Pioneer needs before the Pioneer gets here, if you can put the drone onto the build and onto the Apollo, that seems like
And we know they've had drones that do that type of thing work in the past, because you remember the old CTR refuel repair base.
Yep, exactly.
You have to have drones fly out and fix your ship. So it's no different from that. It's literally the drone leaves, picks up, returns. It's an automated A to B drone, as you're saying, not the remote control drones that we're doing.
With an A to B drone, the only thing that really changes is it's always going to come back to the same point on the ship. It's just where it's going out there to the person, and that's essentially just binding an entity to another entity with a spline that the drone can follow and come back. Other than that, it's not that complicated. It is complicated, but it's not.
It not a remote drone.
It can be a lot. Yeah, it can be a lot more complicated than that. What I'm saying is that's probably the most basic level. If you think about what we have, NPCs following splines. A drone, a spline is this kind of similar. A drone and an NPC, same thing. It's literally just the only thing you've got to add is that it kind of, you stop and like an NPC welds something or it yawns or something like that. But instead, it's just picking the person up. And if it's just teleports them into the thing or it locks around them or whatever that animation is, that's all it is. And then it comes back.
I could say the hardest part of it is the fact that if it's picking up player characters, it's moving the player character entity rather than anything else. But the rest of it to me just seems very basic in terms of drones, in terms of it's, as you said, it's just A to B. It's using the technology we've got.
So
the new bit would be moving the characters.
The prisoner says drones for the Vulcan too, but see, the drone for a Vulcan is a lot more complicated because it's actually two things. It's the A to B drone mixed with a snub. Because you've actually, and a remote turret, because essentially you're taking a snub like a Merlin that you can fly around, but it's smaller. Then you're making it so it's got a remote turret on it, like you have on a ship, and it's you're flying the ship instead of turning the turret. And then the third part is obviously that it's the drone itself that's physically moving around the world space. So it's actually combining all three techs. So we need the A to B before we can do the Vulcan. And then you've also got to add the ability to use hand tools as well. So there's actually a fourth component to a Vulcan one.
Yeah. Whereas when we're talking about the Pioneer drone and the build drones and the Shepherd drone, you say, I'm building this building, and then the drone just goes out and starts building that building. You're not controlling the building after that. When you say, I want to pick up that body, the drone is just going to that location and coming back. It's not. You're not controlling it. There's no control station on a
automatic versus manual, basically.
Yeah. So the drones on the Apollo and the Pioneer seem to be no drone control, whereas the Vulcan, the Reclaimer, the trying to think the Carrack, theirs are all remote drones. They're drones where you basically get in and control what it's doing. So that's the difference, and they're significantly different. But as you said, you need that basic one working before you can advance to the next one.
So Ash in Twitch chat is essentially telling me how he had a lot of frustrations. If you did want to try again, Ash, what I'd recommend is trying to cycle the quest a few times, because the way it seems to feed out the quests, it seems to feed them out in like an order, and if you pick it up and dump it a few times, it'll tend to send you to a landing zone that's empty. And when you get there, the lifts seem to work because they've refreshed and reset. Where if you go into a quest area where people already are, they tend to be more broken. So I found, I tend to try to go to a location that is more empty. It doesn't always work, but that's where I've had the most success. And I deliberately try to find one that's okay, let's take it for an example. Crusader, when I was doing those missions, the Daymar and Yellow ones were always the ones I was having problem with. But every time I went to Cellin, there was only ever one mission on Cellin, but there was like 2 on the others, or 3 on the others. I can't remember what it was, but there was only ever 1 on Cellin. I just kept going to the Cellin one because nobody wanted to go there. And every time I went,
because everyone's going to go there.
Well, just as an example, but again, like when I go out to Microtech, I'm going to find the least popular moon. When you go to down to Arcorp, it was Lyria because more people wanted to go to Walla. I don't know why. It was just a subconscious thing. When most people wanted to go to Ita in Hurston, so I'd be going off to Aberdeen or whatever the hell the other one's called. But I'd find the more rarer moon, and that tended to be where less people were, because one of the moons has got a really bad, I think it's Aberdeen, has really bad heat, and so people don't want to be there because it's annoying. So just little things like that. If you're prepared to go to the more annoying place, there's less people, so you just get it done. So and there are, if you keep crashing Morley, then that's I'm going to be honest, at this point, it might be a hardware issue, because I'm going to be honest, it's probably the best it's ever been. Even the PTU builds have been really stable for me. And I know that's just me going, well, it didn't happen to me. But I think you'd say overall, if you talk to most people, it's not been a crashing issue.
I think he's saying I keep crashing on Daymar. I literally keep smashing my ship on Daymar.
He's crap and he can't fly. Well, that's a skill issue, and I can't help you with that.
I think that might be what he's saying. I hope that's what he's saying rather than the game keeps crashing. But
either way, that's a you issue, and you need to get that looked at.
It could be a you issue in terms of your ability to fly, and that's okay. It just means more practice. So PC or crap flyer is patch 44's response to you, Mooney. But if they are crashing your ship, just more practice.
Okay, so there's a few
crashing.
No, there's a few people.
The game kept crashing.
There's a few people in YouTube chat. They're saying CIG said crashes are due to newly implemented sound code for the game, and then Chris also said I've had a lot of crashes to desktop, especially in usually EAC. Yeah. EAC crashing. Are you talking about?
Yeah.
What's EAC? EAC crashing. I don't know what that is.
I can't say.
Yeah.
But Moonley was saying the game kept crashing when he went to third person. So when he was on Daymar, if he went to third person, the game would crash. So unfortunately, that's not sure of the problem there.
Just realized Dyson's in chat. Dyson, if you want, man, jump on Discord. You're an Inforunner. Not been around for a long time, but you can jump in and talk, man. He's saying that would it make more sense to have drones do cave mining than a whole ship? I think the problem with that, though, is the same thing as the Vulcan, because you've got to have it essentially. Let me think about that for a second. You'd have to scan. You'd have to find the rock, which you can technically do right now on an Atlas Geo. So scanning is there. You've also got the scanning on the ship, so you can see the rocks under the ground. But then you'd have the pathing issues of going through the whole cave with a drone. When you're doing an A to B on a building, you've only got 2 nodes, because you're essentially going from the ship. It's a line of sight. When you're going down in a cave, you've got multiple spline points. So it is more complicated. You actually have to have that kind of nav mesh procedurally built for you. That's what's more complicated. It's the nav mesh. So that is a step. I'd actually say that's between manual and the A to B line of sight.
Yep.
So that would be the next step before doing the Vulcan.
Just right says EAC is the easy anti-cheat.
Oh, then stop cheating. Yeah, just to stop cheating, and that'll solve that problem. I have not had any of those issues, but it is that's interesting to know that people. Okay, easy anti-cheat. Interesting. Why would that be making people crash? I use easy anti-cheat on so many games I play, and I don't have any issues.
But if it crashes.
I guess maybe there's people that have maybe they have something for work on their computer or something like that that's causing it to crash. Also, so something on your computer is making the easy anti-cheat crash, which makes the whole game quit. Okay. Oh, okay. So Rolly says easy anti-cheat has a known issue with Windows 11 and certain M.2 NVMe drives. Okay, so yeah, there's probably some issues in there. But I'm going to tell you right now, going from Windows 10 to Windows 11 is trash. It is so bad. All the issues I have, I can almost track back to Windows 11. Yep. It's not. And the only reason I went to Windows 11 was because of that hack that happened. And I prefer 10. It's so much lighter. It's so much leaner. It just. Yeah, again, you can tell what they're doing with 11. They're setting it up to push us all onto a subscription model, and then they're going to berate us with ads. I can just see it coming a mile away, and it's going to make all the computers run like shit. And what's going to happen is someone's going to come around and make a new Oz, and then Microsoft's going to be really screwed. Because when someone pulls their thumb out, I guarantee you someone's going to do it eventually. Google thought about doing it, and they just turned it into a Chrome OS that essentially just ran a browser because they realized how much of a gigantic task was. But eventually someone is going to do it, and I reckon they'll make it on Linux or something like that, and they'll make it for free. But it's going to require there's no money in it. That's the problem. Like, nobody wants to put the money in to get stuff back out because, well, this is the other interesting thing. Apple did it, right? And they sell their Oz, but you're not meant to sell any stuff that's made on Linux, but nobody's challenged them because nobody's got the money to challenge Apple. Where if you have a free company that's got no money, you can challenge them and they just have to shut the whole thing down. Yep. Weird irony, huh? Apple takes something that was meant to be free and is now selling it.
I find that Windows feels like a virus 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So it's Microsoft's legal virus.
Yeah, and any
how to screw up your computer.
And anything that kind of interferes with their own stuff, they treat it like it's a virus. So if you want to install another piece of software that, say, for example, is like Office or something like that, they'll say, oh, this may contain a virus or something like that. Like anything that goes against what they want you to do, like say you download a BitTorrent thing, so you want to download BitTorrent stuff, they'll treat it like it's a virus. They will do anything they can to make you feel like you're stupid and don't know what you're doing. And there's so many things I got to turn off. Like, because when you said EAC, I honestly thought of UAC, which is there's a thing in Windows that basically dumbs it down for dummies, and I hate that shit. It drives me nuts. Always doing pop-ups and shit. I understand why it's there for normies, but for people that are more advanced like myself, it's just a pain in the ass. And I'm sure most of the people here are probably against it as well because it's down.
Anyway, moving on. Hiralex says, "What is the best profession for solo, chill, relaxing, casual gameplay?"
Any other game.
It depends on the person. I'm pretty certain for John Citizen, the best profession for solo, chill, relaxing, casual gameplay is mining.
No, it's fishing. He goes and plays that fishing game. You ask him, he's been playing the shit out of that fishing game lately.
Okay.
But if
he's playing Star Citizen, it would be mining.
Yep.
For me, if I want to chill, I do salvage. I don't do mining. For someone else, it's going to be cargo. So it's whatever you find the most chill, relaxing profession. I can tell you for me, it's salvage.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably salvage as well. Mining's a bit more stressful than salvage. Salvage is just a bit more time consuming, but you don't have to just cruising and just flowy and
what I like about it is, there's the different commands. It's not just strip and haul, it's and change boxes. It's strip and take boxes out and take cargo out and take weapons off, and so there's more aspects to it, so you don't get as bored doing the same thing over and over again. But I'm pretty certain John Citizen would be saying, but mining is so wonderful, and
I think John gets a lot more out of helping other people personally. That seems to be the thing he enjoys. He likes teaching people mining, I think, more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's
a few people talking about Oz in the Twitch chat. Yeah, SteamOS. I actually hope SteamOS all came about because Microsoft were threatening to make everything go through their Microsoft store, and Steam saw that as them directly trying to steal Steam, essentially. So that's when they started to make their own OS. So necessity is the mother of all invention. I do think eventually SteamOS may get to the point where they're the company that kills Windows, because if they bring out a Steam OS, they'll probably rename it to be something more generic. But if they bring out an operating system that does everything that Windows does, but with none of the bloat, and it's absolutely free, Microsoft are absolutely completely stuffed, because the way they treat people is with such a higher level of respect. Instead of trying to make it free and then monetize the shit out of it, you make it free and then charge people for the other services you provide, like Office and Word and all that type of thing. But again, they don't provide any services really beyond Windows, where if you look at what Steam does, it's kind of got all the services above Windows. So if they build the Windows below and give that for free, why the hell would you use Windows when you could use the Steam one? And that's what's going to happen.
If you're using Steam for your gaming and everything else.
And if they get someone like Chrome or Firefox on board to build the browser, You start to realize, like I know a lot of people do use Word, right? So, but again, you can go into a browser right now and you can use Google Docs, so they don't need to build that, right? You actually add everything out. Microsoft's in real trouble if someone actually makes an operating system. I think Microsoft, they're in for a world of hurt, and they don't really. I don't know if they see it coming, but the way they're going, if you've got to be able to pick between an operating system that's full of ads or an operating system that's got slightly less limitations, but it plays your games faster, you can still browse the web, you can still go on YouTube, you just, and you have to do all your Word documents through a browser. I think that covers like 90% of people. I think that'd be in real trouble.
Yep. No, I think you'd be right. I think that whole argument makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I was noticing that on Twitch, when I find it again, the prisoner was saying that Linux got an update and it's working on Star Citizen again. So that's a bonus for that.
Morley says in Twitch, I actually thought this the other day too, Morley. He says, I hope Must doesn't make one and it's actually good. Because someone that had the money and as a gamer that'd be motivated, because it'll just be called X, because he names everything X, but the X Oz or something like that. I could see him doing that out of frustration with Microsoft if they fill it full of ads. I do know he's looking at making a Twitch platform of his own on X. And Asmongold was going to help him out, but that's another thing altogether. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, next question, Adrian.
Next question from Rabbit. Vandal ship team. I think they're done. Moving on to alien ships. When will we get more Asperia converted alien ships? When CIG want to do them?
Yeah. I think the other thing I think of is I think. Knowing they're building the Raelian, and that's going into production, is there another Xian ship there or a variant that they taught for onboarding? That would be my real question that comes out of your question, because we know they obviously did the Prowler, but again, only really one person worked on that. So does that mean that there's also another Tavaran ship coming? Like you got to look at it like that, like. If this is designed to teach, what are they teaching them to make? Well, they're teaching them to make Tavaran. So now what's he building?
Yeah. And so that gets you asking on that question. I'd like to hope that we see Tavaran ships from the Branner system. I think it's the Branner system where there's which is if I'm remembering correctly, that's an independent, non-UE aligned system where Tavaran live. And Tavaran have a settlement there, and they're building their own ships and they're doing their own stuff. And I can see that being set up for either an in-game Tavaran Civil War with the Tavaran who are in the UEE and the Tavaran who aren't. I can see that being the platform for bringing alien characters into the lore. So you start, and I could see you starting as a UEE Tavaran. And trying to find out about your past, find about Rajora and everything else. Then, because you don't need to, because Tavaran have lived in the UEU so long, you don't need to assume you're not changing the lore or changing the story that you know, but you're actually adding in stuff that you're learning as you develop that character. So I could see that being a branch they do, and I could see Tavaran ships being brought in as you do that.
A good little
the fact that Branner has
side grade expansion pack type of thing.
Yeah. But the fact that the Branner system has Tavaran and Tavaran ships, I could see Tavaran, I'd like to see real Tavaran ships, not Asperia Tavaran ships in that sense. But yeah.
I'd like to think at some point in the game with what we've kind of seen with the lore and all that, that basically we maybe find a lost Tavaran thing, and they start making their own ships, type of thing. We help them make their own, manufacture something, and then Asperia ones kind of nick off, and we just have actual Tavaran ones. They end up being on good terms with us, or maybe they're on bad terms with us. But again, like in Freelancer, you could actually go out and eventually earn rep with the bad guys and play as a bad guy. So maybe they're only friendly with certain humans.
One of my people say, what do I want to do in game? I want to go to a settlement and help it become prosperous. So I've always thought I'd go to a Tavaran settlement and help a Tavaran settlement take off and become prosperous in the UEE.
Now, knowing that you're a religious person, that sounds a lot like you've got a savior complex and you want to go there and save people.
No, I just like the underdog.
Yeah,
it's just they you know.
And if they put a halo on you and call you Jeebus, that's just a side effect. Yeah, okay, you're right.
Saint Oldman, yeah. Right. Saint Oldman Hurston, yeah.
Someone linked a link in Twitch that got hit by the Nightbot, but it was a link to xdadevelopers.com, how to install Windows on Steam Deck. So apparently you can install Windows on a Steam Deck, and I have seen it. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's what he was trying to link. Sorry, but yeah, no links in chat because the bot just smacks them.
Doesn't like them.
When we first started out, Ryback, we got a lot of let's just call them sex bots and adult bots, and so we had to basically bring in some other bots to fight the bots, and it just we don't see them at all anymore. They don't even turn up anymore. It's almost like they detect that there's a bot on the stream and they don't come anymore. But yeah, they used to turn up a lot at the start. Now they just never see them.
Yep. But that's why we don't have them. And so that was the bot sending you a warning. We didn't do that. That was just Twitch. Shinobi Trip.
Yep.
Tinfoil Hat Copium. The current event is designed to stress test the planet's side elevators, and they will be fixed in 4.3. It's been boring and frustrating without the combat missions.
I've almost wondered if Elliot and his team deliberately made missions so they knew that people had to go fix shit. Like, it does feel a little bit like that's like, let's do an event that just shows how broken this game is, so they get out there and fix it. Like, I don't know if that's what it was, but I'd have to assume that it wasn't. But
Emperor Daft, did you? Emperor Algared just has too much of a
Admiral Algared. Thank you very much.
Oh, Admiral Al, yes, that has been a title that I have been given already.
It's like KFC, Colonel. Was it Kentucky Fried Chicken? But it's Admiral Algared's, and he sells Tavarans, and they're fried. Finger licking good, or feather licking good.
Admiral Al's Tavar, Hurston Fried Chicken.
No,
Hurston Fried Tavvar.
Tavvar, Hurston Fried Tavvar, something like that.
Yep, and hello to Rebecca. Salamat pagi. In YouTube, by the way.
What the hell does that mean?
Yes.
What does that mean? You're swearing at me. I didn't understand what that meant. What does it mean? Tell me, translate.
Good morning. Good morning, dear.
Okay, good morning, Rebecca. See. Right. Sandgroper, the real question is, why can't you rent the C2 in-game yet? Yeah, that's a really good question. Sandgroper, I actually do think that they probably need a way for you to, like under Crusader, as an example, like you've got the entire ship line there. Why can't you essentially buy them from Crusader? But not only that, that they give you a discount if you're in favorable rep with them, as an example. You know, I do think these things are coming. It's a little bit cart for the horse, but I do think this
mission type of thing is
the first step. Yeah.
I could see, you know, you've got rep with the company, they'll give you a discount on their gear. And the higher your rep it, you know, you got tier 1 rep, you get 2%. You get tier 5 rep, you get 10 or 15%.
Yeah.
So I could fully see that.
Then Sangro bust another one, which was, is this event an event for us, the players, or is it an event to help Sergi bug test elevators and cargo movements? Which is kind of similar to the last question. Yeah, it does feel a bit that way. But again, sometimes I think that question, because are they trying to force people, either pump people in the company to fix shit? I don't know.
Yep. So Carl72, question, is the MPV or the Atlas is the Atlas or the Raft the MPV of this thing? And should they have a skin as a reward?
That's
slightly rewording his question, but yeah.
Yeah. Now I sit here and think about it, I would have actually made it so instead of giving out the clothing, I would have made it so that it gave you a skin for the max lift, and it gave you an atlas with the skin of
the brand.
Of the brand.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Moving on, Ekesuni says, what if a ship is some kind of hybrid ship? This is going back to the Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
Do you think they might do hybrid ships, not modular, like the ship that can mine and salvage?
I think you're going more into refining when you talk about hybrids, because clearly you're going to be able to salvage and then pass it on to a refinery ship, because we know that the reclaimer has that ability to kind of do that part of it, but obviously the Vulture and the Fortune don't, and the one in the middle or two in the middle, whatever they end up doing, they probably won't have that feature.
Yeah, the other thing is,
joking.
If they do have if you had a hybrid ship that could do both of those, it would be crap at both, because it becomes basically a variant or a module at that point.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Yeah.
You know, so would I want a ship that does both and is crap at both? No, I'd rather a ship that was better, that was focused on the one. That sounds like a modular ship or a variant. A modular ship where you could swap out the part, so you could focus on one or the other. Yeah, I could see that. But again, it's not going to be as good as a dedicated ship in that role.
Ryvax6, thank you for the gifted sub that went to Town Scott. So make sure you say thanks, Town Scott, if you're in chat.
Yep, right. I was just about to do that myself, but thank you.
Wax is there. Hey, Wax, hope you're doing well, man. Been a long time since I've seen you, but for those that don't know, Wax does the clip of the day that we don't ever get to be on because we don't play the game. We just talk about the game. Apparently, we're not funny. But Wax did a really funny. Actually, I should show that just to rub salt in his wound, because he didn't reply to my message. Where is it? Give me a second. I'm gonna have to open this. And then go this. So in one of his videos this week, apparently this is Pissball Pete. Face reveal of Pissball Pete. Looks a lot like my Snoodle to me. I don't know about you. So yeah. Anyway. So yeah.
Much too. I'm sure Pissball Pete's annoyance.
Pissball Pete said, "I'm beautiful," and I sent it to Most as well, and he had a good chuckle. But yeah, apparently Wax needs glasses. So yeah, time for glasses there for you, Wax. I think. Right.
Yep. So Rabbit Enki, the Enki, I think you need the brackets around question for pirate. So no, we don't need brackets around questions from to register.
No.
Our bot picks up anything with the word question.
Yeah.
So, Zorgul, how are the incoming armor in Star Citizen going to impact the gameplay for salvaging, mining, refining, crafting, etc.?
Well, that's a good question. Which ships will end up having armor? Because it's a lot of them will just say light, medium, or heavy, or none. They don't actually give any. It's one of the most vaguest things in the entire game. So like when that comes in, it's really gonna. I think probably like if you look at combat ships as an example, it's probably going to mix up the meta more than anything has. Like probably obviously the flight model is a big one, but for fighters specifically, armor is going to be huge, and I'm looking forward to it actually.
Well, the other one is, we know one of the few things we know is that the cutter is supposed to be the most heavily armored of
starters
its class. Of the starters. Which means it should be tankier than an Aurora.
And right now, that's all faked with health, but we don't know. Like obviously, the more armored something is, the more sluggish it's going to be, and stuff like that. And I think a lot of this does have to come in, to be honest, because of the Perseus. The Perseus is heavily armored. I think that's really what's going to differentiate it from, say, something like a Polaris. I don't think Polaris is going to be half as armored as the Perseus is. But then the Polaris, though, is going to have those massive torpedoes. So again, that's more offensive, when a Perseus is kind of more towards defensive.
And I would be surprised if the Perseus has shields as strong as a ship of its size, because it's going to have that shield tech. I could be wrong, but
essentially right now, a weird way to kind of look at it is we've all been using swords, and they're about to bring shields into the game, so you can. That's kind of a weird way to look at it, but if you simplify it that way, it does make it, you can kind of start to see which ships went the other way and they've got two swords, which ships went sword and shield, which just went, oh, I'm just going to have one sword so I'm a bit more mobile, you know, stuff like that. So you can start to see in that regular, you call it Dungeons and Dragons style sense, how it's going to kind of pan out, and then we're going to have those out of field things that are like e-warfare, and they're like the mage or whatever in that type of scenario. It'd be interesting to see how things pan out when we get that extra thing, because right now we've just had so much combat for so long. Flight plus armor is going to really mix it up, so I'm looking forward to it. We're both having confits today. It's really enjoyable. I'm just watching here Algared go completely red, and I just did it a minute ago, so I know how he feels.
Yep, it's horrid. So in terms of a comment I was making about the Perseus, the 90s says in Twitch that the Perseus has 2 size 3s, ? 4 size 3s, ? in terms of shields. I'd have to look. I haven't looked in a hot minute.
That is another one in my mental head that I want to do. I do want to go back before the Perseus comes out and do like a deep dive on that. It is one I have written down. But fortunately, they're just piling up a little bit at the moment. So I'd like to try and get round to that before Ship Showdown. But believe it or not, Ship Showdown starts in like 5 days. So again, and the ones where we do deep dives always take us more time to prepare, because we've got to sit down for a couple of hours and go back through all the shit again. Where if we just do one where me and Algared just want to talk about something, we can literally just sit down and start recording, because we know a lot of the stuff, and it's just back and forward.
Well,
and
we call those episodes low hanging fruit. For us, sometimes we'll think of a topic and we'll go, oh yeah, this is, and the topics that we just waffle on about because we just know so much. They're the ones that seem to go well, because.
But yet we'll do a deep dive that have all this preparation
and nothing.
But they don't track as well.
And I think part of it is because the things we think are not important or easy because it's just stuff we know. It's stuff no one else remembers or has, or so it's new. Whereas the deep dive stuff is, I don't know. But
I don't know. But I do know a Perseus one will track very well, because a lot of people are very interested in that
like
shit.
The Perseus.
So
that's right.
We might go back and do that one. It is on my list. It's one I want to look at. So yeah. All right.
So
Nick.
Roback 6.
Yep.
What ship, or what do you think made CIG's money over the last week? Was it, and why was it the Prospector?
Prospector CCU.
Yeah.
Was there a Prospector CCU that was cheap? What? I don't get the question. You get the question?
No, I think he's just trying to say he loves the Prospector and the Prospector's awesome.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm pretty certain the ship that made them the most money over the week was not the. I'm going to say it was not the Mole.
Would have been. I went to the place. I'll take you with me.
Yeah.
Ship upgrades. Here we go. I don't think there was a Prospector upgrade. Let's just have a look. All ships. That Prospector. There is an option available.
There you go.
$10 off. Okay. Was there any other one?
So you can get a $10 discount on your Prospector to do the missions that take you 10 times as long.
So there's a Zeus one as well. There's a Prospector one.
And yes, Sandgraper, we do believe that CIG missed the trick.
Mole.
In not making the Raft a patch bundle ship for this mission set.
Yeah. They need to stop. And again, it could have been a planning thing. I've got no idea, but it just sounds like you guys need to communicate a bit more. We honestly don't know, but missed opportunity type of thing.
It does seem so often we come across missed opportunities all over the place. The things that seem blatantly, logically obvious are the things that you don't do, and you go for the obscure. And the only thing that the frustrating thing is that makes it think, well, you're just trying to get a cash grab. You're trying to sell a ship that's not popular. If you were doing a mining focused mission and you were selling the mole, even if it's not a popular ship, we'd go, yeah, that's a really great choice.
Hey, why isn't there something on the raft for a discount?
Yeah, but you're doing a major, it's a mission set that's majorly cargo, and you're not focusing on cargo ships. You're not offering discounts on cargo ships. You're not.
And they'd definitely be able to see the data of people using rafts right now.
Yeah.
And be utterly slapping themselves.
Yep. Yeah. And see how many people aren't using the mole or buying the CCU. So yeah. So that's the frustration from our side as people looking in and playing the game.
So there's people in chat saying that they reckon the raft's going to go up in price, etc., right? While it appears to have a lot of good value, you got to also realize. So let's just take a really good example here, right? I don't even know it's going to let me. I'd love to be able to bring it up here, but I know it's not going to let me bring it up. No, because it won't let me upgrade it because it's the same price. But what I was going to bring up, but I didn't, was the Spirit, right? So the Spirit's exactly the same price as the Raft, right? So you kind of look at that and go, which is better, right? Now when I pair those two off each other, there are pros for both of them, and there are negatives for both of them, and I do think they are similarly priced in value, believe it or not. The Raft goes whole hog into cargo, but it flies like shit, it drifts like shit, it can't stop on a dime. Then you look at the Spirit, it can stop on a dime, it flies fast as hell, but then you look at the cargo, it can only do 64, where that does 180.
Yep. And then you look at the other side. The Raft is really easy to load.
Yep.
The Spirit's fairly easy to load with its tractor, but it's internal cargo versus external cargo.
Both got the same size tractor beam, things like that. You can also do better space loading with the C1 because it can go above and cover more of the area, not just behind. You've got living facilities on both. You've got beds on both. You've got kitchenettes on both. You've got suit lockers on both. They share a lot in common. But I think they are roughly about the same. I think giving up, because the other thing, for example, is I can put a small vehicle like a Cyclone in the back of a C1. Can't do that on that. I've got to take up at the moment, the way the grids work, if I put an Atlas on the back of a Raft, it takes up like 4 SCU cargo boxes. It takes up like 4 slots on the grid. It's quite large, and again, I don't think it should do that. I think it should only take up the space at 2. But again, that's probably a cart horse problem. And again, another side tangent here. Why the hell doesn't the Raft have some kind of special feature to store an Atlas? Like
when the Atlas is a tool that makes loading so much better.
Yeah, you want to put the Raft up in price. There's a little spot on the bottom. So if you're walking underneath the Raft, you know how you kind of walk back to where you get on the elevator?
Yep.
In the center there, under that window, there's kind of like a wedge that's being cut out. Have that so it's like a fold-down elevator thing that you stand an Atlas in and it folds back up. Guarantee you that'll increase sales of the Raft 100%. Well, it won't do it by 100%, but I would actually consider buying one if it could also store an Atlas.
Yeah, it makes sense for the Raft to have an Atlas. Just seeing how easy the Raft is to load, and having seen how easy and how efficient the Atlas makes loading a Raft, as opposed to using the Max.
And just like in real life, companies will go out of the way to kind of on-sell their own shit.
And that would be a perfect blending of. That would be what Argo would have done. If they're looking at the Raft as being, if it wasn't just being the stevedore ship for station transfer, which we initially believed it was, and it was just a straight cargo ship for land transfer. They'd have had a Raft, they'd have had the Atlas kind of linked in because it's using our stuff.
The whole argument can be made it takes 37 seconds to respawn a Raft with expedited, so, but again, it's all these nice to have little features. You've got all these little things in the Raft that are not really functional right now. That's something that you could add that is highly functional.
But it's quality of life issues, and also tying in and making the game, making the ship and the company feel more realistic. in terms of.
And technically, it'll be the first Atlas or Titan transport ship.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can actually reveal it like that, and like everyone gets super hyped, and then it's like, oh, it's just a raft.
It's a raft with a. Yeah. And if you wanted to make it so it wasn't being used for moving the combat version.
Yeah.
It's a bespoke landing bit for an Atlas rather than a.
I do hope overall they come back and do that with a lot of ships. They kind of integrate and cross, because the only one that really does it a lot now is Drake. Like they got as part of their thing that they interact with each other a lot. I would actually like to see that a lot more across manufacturers, like more manufacturer tie-ins.
Well, I think I'd like to think they do that, and the type of things that make me think that is if you go back to the early 2014 when you're looking at the manuals for the brochures for the Cutlass, not the Cutlass, the Aurora and the Constellation, you got this sense that it's got the components that can be interchanged with all of our ships, or they got that sense that they were looking at manufacturers melding their ships together and working together and doing stuff. But we don't really see it in game that much, and it'd be nice to see that type of, as you said, the companies pushing and focusing on developing their own brand.
There's little droplets here and there. So a real simple one that I think you're kind of hinting at, but you didn't specifically state, would be like the Ursa from RSI that fits in the Connie. Stuff like that, and then the links to the Phoenix and stuff like that. So that there are little snippets here. And they are more lore tie-ins more than anything else. But still, I just kind of like that they're linked up. And again, if you want to go into bundling, right? They're talking about making these bundles that they want to sell. Well, they're not talking about it, but they're selling these bundles. The best bundle that we ever got was the Carrack, the Pisces, and the Rover. That's the type of bundling people want. They don't want this blade bullshit tied in with a skin bullshit. Like they want
the Constellation Aquila or Constellation Phoenix with the Ursa and the P-52 or Fit-72. The Carrack with the Pisces and the Ursa. They're the type of things that are bundling. And you sell your ship, you sell your Carrack, and it's not a bundle. It's just a Carrack, and the price is inflated, but that's because you're getting the Pisces and the.
You know what you just made me think of? One of the I have to think this through, but I'm just going to blurt it out there, right? And just remember, this is off the cuff. Some kind of module that allows you to put the Ursa in the Apollo, because then you could do the Medivac into the Apollo. I don't know how they'd do it. I'm sitting there trying to think, like, would it be an elevator? Would it be a side door or whatever? But that would be cool, because then it literally would be one-stop shop where you can drive in. You've got the medical Ursa in there, and then you pull the guy out and you put him in the bed. That'd work really cool. I'd love that. That'd be mad. It'd be my favorite medical ship straight away.
Based on what it is at the moment, it'd need an elevator, and it'd be a variant. Because of the way the ship is designed.
Oh yeah. Well, I know, but still, it's cool in concept.
I could see that. I could, when you've got a medical Ursa, it'd be nice to see even a medical Connie in that sense, because you've got the.
How would I just realised? I'm just checking. I'm not drunk. We don't have a bike from RSI, do we?
No.
A medical bike.
A bike with a medical kit on it and a
no, like a sidecar that has a bed on it. So there's two variants, and the module is the sidecar. So you have essentially like a medical bed one, and then you have another one that's just like for a second person to sit in, and maybe one that has a turret that the person sits in.
Yeah, I can see that.
I love that idea, and I just came up with that off the fly. Holy shit. But yeah, that sounds sick to me, but...
All right, so Rabbit has a question. Should CIG implement an issue council mission tab that rewards players in the game for chasing down the top 10-20 issue council bugs?
I'm not so sure about that because there's so many other things you could be doing, and it comes down to priority order. And what we think is a priority order is not necessarily in line with their plans. Yep. Yes, problems we are having are important, but also something that feels important to us is not always. How do I word this? We don't have the same perspective they have. I don't know how else to say that. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Aaron? Like if people know that they can influence that vote, can't they then essentially bomb the vote and just get fixed what they want fixed?
Yep. I think the current system with issue council highlights the things and CIG acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that once they're acknowledged, doesn't mean CIG are going to go, yep, we're fixing this. I think it comes down to then, are they critical for gameplay? Are they, are they workarounds? Is it just cosmetic? And then even if it's critical for gameplay, does it tie in with what, as you said, what they see as critical? If they're working on lifts and you're complaining about the gun misfiring, or tough on the gun misfiring because the focus is lift. But if you've got a bug on lifts and they're focusing on lifts, then that's going to get priority, and it's that type of thing. As you said, what we see as important does not always align with what CIG sees as important.
I think we can all agree the lifts are game breaking, and that's why the thing. But if you've just got like, I'm trying to give an example. I'm not trying to shit on people too much. So say there's an issue with a 600i, right?
Yep.
That's just a selection of the community. And I think you could even pick a more the more popular the ship becomes.
The bigger example.
Let me finish. Let me finish, because you are literally interrupting me.
Yep.
And I'm gonna have to start calling you and interrupting me now after you did that
go
earlier today. But basically, you've got the 600i, and you've essentially got a niche issue there. You then need to go on to others, where if it's something like the elevator, that affects everybody because everyone uses the elevator. Again, it's literally a priority order.
Yep. And in game at the moment, an even better example than the 600i is the Millie High Club. You cannot access the Millie High Club. It's a very, very niche community aspect. Is it essential for gameplay? Absolutely not at all. Is it important? Would it be nice to have it work? Absolutely. But it's not important. The lists are more important. So, and so it just reiterates what you're saying. Just hammers it home. So, yeah. Next question. Shempasta says, why is CIG making time-limited missions with hangar awards when there are so many bugs? My complaint as well, Shempasta. Why are they making time-limited missions when they're not working and you can't get them working? Especially if they're trying to stress test the system and find it. I think that's probably why. Make it time-limited. Everyone tries to do it. Stress test it. There you go. That's my reasoning. But it's annoying as hell.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I missed all that. Anyway.
Why are they making time-limited missions with hangar awards when they don't work?
Because, again, I don't think they realise what they've done. It's fine. And again, there's nothing to say it can't come back again. Be time-limited again next year or whenever. I think we'd all have to be a bit ridiculous to think that manufacturer skins aren't going to be some kind of permanent thing in the game eventually. I think that's almost a no-brainer.
Oh, look, even we've thought that these missions should be just continual. For that.
Yeah, so if you're grinding them all out now and you're worried you're going to miss some, don't be worried. I think that we can pretty much guarantee they're going to be in the final game to earn.
So Dub Cody says, can someone please explain the Millie High Club to the paupers? Millie High Club was a reward that people got for, or was a part of the packs, the big packs way back then, was you gained access to Millie High Club.
It's behind you.
Yeah, it is behind. It's the area behind me. In terms of the screensaver, it's a location on ArcCorp which you cannot, that even people who have access to cannot access because the doors do not work, and they haven't worked for several patches. But it was a part of a package. It was a facility you owned and run, and at the moment it's just a club in game that is exclusive. I think it has a barkeep. You can go in and have a look around. The fish tanks are empty. The tables are empty. It looks nice, but that's about it. But lots of people who own it complain that you can't get in. I just think, not important. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, I'm going to have to set up some more scenes. I thought I had scenes set up, but I don't. Anyway.
Yeah. Right back.
No, we did that one. We did that one.
We did that one already.
Wax3 says, what changes do you think the Perseus will get from the original concept? I think a lot of them will probably be more internal. I think we've sort of seen the gun size increase. I don't know. Mine. I think of things that are new that we don't have, like the customizable ammo stuff could have caused problems. Yep. We know that it's got that same cargo bay still there. So does that mean it's still got that ridiculously huge ramp that it's got?
Does that mean they'll lower down even lower down the height of the landing gear so that the ramp doesn't become as long or as angled?
Yeah, I actually looked at it and I said, why the hell is this just not a cargo bay that goes all the way to the ground? I always wondered that. Like, why have a double ramp when you could have just had the whole cargo bay coming to the ground?
And when it's an RSI ship, if it was anything but an RSI ship, you'd go, well, that's because they use ramp. But RSI use lifts all the time.
Yeah, look at the Connie. It's literally would have added Connie aesthetics into the Perseus.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a frustrating thing to see on that. But yeah, it's I could see the ammo being a problem. I could see whether they upgun it or increase the gun sizes because of game creep. But yeah, who knows? Whatever CIG you decide to add in.
Yeah. All right. Old man Scene 24 says, question, do you think there will ever be a large or capital Argo ship to complete the whole series, to compete with the whole series? He says compete with the whole series. Yeah.
Yep.
Want to answer that one?
Look, I'd like to see large capital ships from Argo, but I don't think we will. I think Argo's focus lore-wise was always stevedoring and moving a cargo between locations, not between systems. But yeah, maybe.
I think we'll definitely see an Argo, and eventually it is a predominant manufacturer. I think though it might be a bit off the cuff. I think what it might actually be, if I was to, and it's not betting, or it's more like a hope or something like that. I actually think it might be the underground miner might be from Argo. Again, we've got the mole there, so they do have a mole background. But then to go down a different mining vein, there's now a need for a manufacturer there, and kind of like Argo was saying, like we don't really need another big transporter, large cargo ship. We've kind of got that in the Banu. Also, we know that there's meant to be a Jupiter from Crusader that does that. So there's, Argo's been a little bit tapped, is what I'm trying to say. And is it just really would it have been just a really large raft, or what would it have been? So yes, they do now. Again, that raft never was meant to be like that. So whoever came up with that, they've now made this new aesthetic of this upside down bed raft thing. So is that something? So does that spur on a new capital ship? I don't know. But yeah, I do think eventually we're going to see capitals from every predominant manufacturer. What they are, I'll say is up in the air. But it's a priority thing and a necessity, and I would say that is definitely down the road quite a fair bit.
And if we're looking at a mining ship, rather than Argo, I'd rather see Graycat. I'd rather see a Graycat.
Yep.
Mining ship, because that's
fair.
Whereas Argo are more your stevedores in lore. Graycat are your miners, and
I think though my only problem with the Graycat is they really don't have a lot of big things. In fact, their biggest thing is that mining tick. Everything else that we've seen from them has been fairly small. Like the MTC, I think, is the biggest thing we've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Physically, I'm talking about physical size, because all the others have been much smaller. Yeah. What is it? That is the biggest thing physically, besides that's in the game right now is the MTC, but the mining tickets are physically
the mining ticket's the biggest thing I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not. It just means it's the biggest thing I'm aware of. Oz Veteran in Twitch says an Argo capital refuel and repair ship. Yes, but I could see that fitting with Argo's stevedore type station services type arrangement. Certainly the refuel one, I could see them doing.
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about, by the way, if you're wondering about it. This is the from the Squadron 42 trailer. It does show the ticks.
And if you look at the very first one of the very first grey box images we saw of this tick, had a person down the bottom, and the tick dwarfs people, and it's something that players from the year dot when we first saw it, yeah, we want that. Yeah, can we have it? And CIG always said no. Sorry, but stevedores went broke in WA.
So here it is. This is a TikTok. I hope there's no sound, but this is from way back in the day. This is one of the very first things they ever shared. So you can see these things are really, really, massive. really big. So if you can kind of convert that and then go back to this, you can kind of see.
And that's a drone, by the way.
It almost looks like they're possibly. No, maybe not. I thought this might be a person here squatting, but
bit hard to tell. But yeah. But that is a drone rather than a manned vehicle. So, yeah.
That said, though, that does look like the guy's got a bald head in there. I don't know. Maybe it changed. But yeah, they were meant to be remote and not pilot controlled. Maybe they changed. It'll be
interesting to see whether if they got to change that down the track, wouldn't they?
But that's you got to admit that's a stark difference from this. Or that's and just so we were talking there, that is literally. I think it's 12 years difference between this and that, roughly 12 years. So yeah, we'll put it this way: have any of you heard of that program on the right-hand side, Wingman's Hangar? Ooh. And I guarantee you have a lot of have no idea what that is. Most of you would be going, "What is that?" I don't know. This is before around the verse, like going way back, way back to the beginning.
That's official the CIG, RSI.
Yeah, the guy that hosted that doesn't even work at the company anymore. He actually went on and has now made another game that's released in that time. That's the irony of all that. So yeah, that one. Right.
Yeah.
We're getting down to the last few questions now, Algared. So yeah,
we are. Last three. So Rabbit has a question. Do you think the Raft should get a large enclosed pod like the MPUV has for holding people, small vehicles, and sensitive cargo?
Now, I'm going to answer this question in a really weird way. And I was... there's a potential episode idea in there, so I don't know if I should talk about it or not. Long story short, look, I will, because we're always doing an episode anyway. But when I was looking at the back of the Raft, because I've been flying behind it all the time doing the deliveries, I can't get away from the similarities that it looks like the Starfarer from behind. Because when you have that kind of flat bit in there, it almost looks like the deck where you walk out the back of the Starfarer to do all the refining and stuff. I actually think that if they've been working on this, couldn't they have also... Obviously, they did this as an onboarding task for someone, but imagine if they'd also made a variant that was a refueler variant.
Yep.
Because that's the only gameplay that they haven't tapped that they already have.
I haven't really explained, but also seeing a Raft, given the Raft as Argo and the MPCU as Argo, having that pod type system for the different, making it the Raft and a multi-purpose large vehicle, makes sense.
But also having a refueler that works around the ports makes sense as well.
Yeah.
So instead of doing the pods like on a Starfarer, you could literally just have two, like a scuba tank where it's got the two long ones, but just have two long ones go along the bottom of the Raft. Bang, problem solved. And you could even make it so that it's like cargo based, so the cargo crates come off, and then you whatever. Or you could have just defaultly made that a function of the Raft. But I don't know. I digress.
I could see both. I could see
because it's got room.
Variants of Raft. I could see pods or modules for the Raft, but click into that cargo grid.
You've got I could see the room up the middle for a boom, but also you could also almost take the boom off the SRV and have that go up the middle. You know what I mean? Something that's like like a mix between the Raft and an SRV type of thing as well.
Well, you take your because you're using the cargo pod area for your fuel pods. You take off your tractor beam, and that's your fuel arm, and you control it from your remote station.
Yep, exactly. So combining those two together, you can kind of see where I'm coming at. And I think that would be a good onboarding task for someone. But again, they might have gone a different way.
I may have gone a different way, but yeah, I could see a refueling ship based on the Raft. It ties in with that as you're saying, stevedore port side services. And that ties in, that's the type of thing I would see ties in with Argo's modus operandi, rather than, say, going down a mining route, which I would hope would be more Graycat. But we'll see. We'll see where CIG go. But I'd like to see. Yeah. Good question. Good thought.
All right. Yep. You do the next one. I'm going to start looking at some of the raid.
Denver says, would Sandy ever consider coming back to marketing? I've been a backer for almost 10 years and I feel that the team needs help. I would really be happy if she came to help them out. She's
just not marketing Star Citizen.
Yep. She is basically taking care of Star Citizen and its launch and that type of stuff.
Re-say what you said, but drop the Star Citizen part and replace it with
Squadron.
There we go. He got it.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean.
He does what I do in other ways. See, we both do the same thing. Yeah, and
sometimes we have to correct each other. Otherwise, we say the wrong thing, and then you guys.
We don't want to get false information out there as much as possible. That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, look, I'd love to see Sandy back in a more permanent role doing that, and one of the things that surprised me when we're talking after CitizenCon, when we're having coffee, we were talking about the line at CitizenCon for the store. And Sandy was, but that's not how I told him to do it. So I think she's got a great deal of stuff to add and experience in areas which most gamers don't have. But often I think we look at it and say, well, you're not a gamer, you don't know. And when Sandy started, I don't think she was a gamer, but I think she is now.
Yeah, I think she's slowly being converted.
But yeah, it'd be nice to see her influence, her positive influence in terms of that, because I think sometimes they've just missed the boat. Yes, we do know that Sandy was at Quantum Vegas. So we weren't saying she wasn't back. She's still a key part of the community. And she is, as we said, she is basically looking after the launch of Squadron. So yeah.
All right. Is there one more question left?
There is one more question from Steck. Steck says, any upcoming Crusader ships or MSR rework that we are aware of?
No, the only one I could probably think of would be like an Intrepid variant at the end of the year, if they end up doing variants at all.
Yeah, well, there is that variant from the Blue Curtain, which I think there was a Crusader one in there. I know there's a Consolidated Outland in there. But that'd be the only one I could be aware of. I haven't heard anything else.
Daft, as a side note, I might get Daft to make a Discord channel, like t-shirt ideas or something like that. Would that work for you, Daft? Or should I just get everyone to send you their ideas? Just send them to Daft.
No, just send them to Daft.
Just send them to Daft. Yeah, then we don't have to worry about it. No. Probably a Discord channel might be the way to go, Daft. I'll let you work that out. We'll get that sorted, but get your ideas flowing. And have some ideas. We're doing the mission team. Probably not as many shirts this time. Anything that you think is mission themed. Probably gonna put Elliot on it, so we can have a little bit of a go at Elliot.
Yep. But yeah, as Daft says on YouTube, please hit that like button. It gives us a warm fuzzy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we rated this guy before, but last time we rated him, he was a lot smaller, so he must be going all right. So this is for your immersion. I can probably move out of the way, or I copy and pasted his his name there for rating purposes. But we're going to be rating him today. He's seems to be doing a lot better. He's obviously doing the missions. I think we get him to ask.
Missions are working.
Yeah, we get him to ask him about his frustration with the missions and why. Ask him why isn't he using a raft. I think that's the question I'd like to know.
Yeah.
So
you might say I don't own one.
So we'll be listening in Twitch for YouTube on it for a little bit while you go over there. So yeah, try and bombard him with some questions. Smash his follow button because I do enjoy watching that shit break. It's kind of I just watch it just get spammed. Excuse me. So yeah, with that then I'll oh man, I should hit the raid button already.
Why isn't he using his tractor beam to unload?
Why isn't he using his Atlas? Why is he using his max lift? You guys go over there and school him. I think he needs some help.
Like he's got a tractor beam right in front of him for unloading.
It's breaking my immersion. The fact
and he's
that
got an Atlas in there as well.
Yeah, this is getting bad by the minute. Right, okay. With that, Twitch, you have a good week. Twitch should say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, Twitch.
Bye, Twitch. And they're going. All right, let's listen in. Lots of music.
Several minutes since I've said it, so I just want to thank everyone for being here. You're really the best.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Oh my God, Inforunners, Execute. Hello, how are you doing?
They're good. Agri's here too.
Thank you so much for rating. You could have rated anywhere at all, and yet you rated here. You happen to have rated a fan of your content.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that.
Hello, everyone. You should be checking out Inforunners.
Now he's going to talk about us instead of talking about what he's doing.
Execute and Algared, talking about ships.
Yeah,
I've listened to them talk about ships for many hours, and I appreciate you very much for coming over here with your awesome community.
Oh shucks, golly gosh, didn't know that, but yeah.
I get embarrassed when people say this shit.
I know. Yeah.
For the sake of your immersion.
I'm the same. It's
runners a shout out. You should be following him. Execute does a regular series of talks about different ships.
Before I get blush anymore, I think we'll leave it there. But yeah, he's been doing Hurston. He's already got the Hercules Hurston in tier 5. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
Good to see doing Hurston.
Yeah, I do.
Everyone should do Hurston. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I do think overall it's a more positive event, don't you? Like, I know it's got lots of issues, but the fact that it's got the fact that it's finally got rewards that I actually want to earn.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, it's just a shame with the bugs.
As I've said, and from PTU, I was really looking forward to the event because of that. But the bugs in the live are making it frustrating, and 90% of that frustration is just the fact that I'm time poor.
There you go.
If I had all the time in the world, it wouldn't matter.
He's got Hurston and Art Corp done, and he's now working on Crusader. So he's almost done the opposite of me, where I'm working on Art Corp. But I am in front of him overall. Only just. All right. Yeah. So I'm thinking we'll get that Meteor Buyer's Guide done, and then go back and I think I'm going to the Aurora. I think I'm going to change it slightly. I've just had an idea while we're talking on stream. I'll talk it to you straight after this. But yeah, we might get that done for the weekend after. So yeah,
we'll certainly try to get those two done.
But yeah, definitely. All right, with that then, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that makes smile at Patreon at the end of the video. Oh my God!
Because we love you all.
I hate saying that. If I don't say it in that way though, I don't remember it, and that's the problem. So I always say exactly the same thing in exactly the same way.
And if I want to screw you up, I just chuck it in a little bit beforehand, and it totally throws me off.
And he'll forget something that he's it's very easy to throw us off. Anyway, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. He's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.